Hi, this is King Bucho. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. Today we're going to be talking about the virtual Ortiz-Lubin fight that's going to be coming up this Saturday, plus other things that have been happening in the world of boxing. Very exciting stuff, very controversial type of stuff. But first of all, shout out to everybody in the chat, Jean Ryu, Team Batman Boxing, Langsbury. Guys, welcome to the show. All right, we have Mr. BDA here already. BDA, can you hear me?
Good afternoon.
What the hell's that voice, man? Good afternoon.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah. Let's get this party started. Okay, where do you want to start with? Let's start with what happened last weekend. Buatsi.
I mean, you
Yes.
Buatsi versus Zach Parker. I got to tell you, I was expecting Buatsi to take it. I mean, well, okay, for people that didn't watch the fight, yeah, Buatsi ended up coming out with the win, and that's what I expected. However, Zach Parker clearly won that fight. Buatsi wasn't letting his hands go, maybe because he couldn't let his hands go. We're going to talk more about that later. Parker wasn't exactly whooping them or schooling them. I know people tend to get those terms distorted nowadays. People just use terms nowadays to mean whatever they wanted to mean or whatever fight they saw in their heads. But Parker did dominate that fight, and then all of a sudden, Buatsi gets the decision. And by the way, I don't know, usually the UK crowds are very animated. Throughout the fight, that crowd was silent. When they announced the decision, I heard some booing, but I would have expected a ruckus of some kind. Nothing of the sort. And then when Buatsi started giving his interview, a couple of boos again, but it seemed like the place was empty. Be that as it may, even though I do think Parker won the fight, Bucho, I can't feel too sympathetic towards him because of the clinching. Let's talk about the clinching. I mean, the decision, it is what it is. It's a horrible decision. Who knows what's going to happen? Apparently, Buatsi later on, we got to double check this, that supposedly he accused the referee of being biased and perhaps racially so. I think, nowadays, people just see racism everywhere. Some people are just perpetual victims. But in this scenario, the rules are the rules. You're not allowed to clinch. I know that people still like to think, it's part of boxing. That's not an argument. It's everyone but the WBC says it's against the rules because it muddies the waters, it muddies the fight, it makes it boring, and it doesn't really show you who the better fighter is. Just show you who's the better grappler, and that's not what this is. This is boxing. If you can't beat a guy based off your pugilistic skills and talent, and you got to start clinching, then you're not all that great a boxer. But anyway, Zach Parker, that's what he was doing. He was clinching every 2 seconds. As the fight progressed, he was clinching more and more. Then he would go on his he would get on his knees. Then on top of that, he would fall. He would go launch for a clinch
down,
and then
his mouthpiece out, spitting his mouthpiece.
I think he hit the canvas more times than Buatsi actually hit him. But that's the thing, though. I have to wonder. I often say this when a guy clinches a lot: is how would a fight have looked had he not been allowed to clinch? In other words, would Buatsi have been more successful had the rules been applied? Had the referee actually applied the rules and said, "Hey, listen, you got to stop clinching." Again, as it always happens, it took him about 8 rounds for the referee to finally warn the clincher, Parker in this case, hey, watch the clinch. He actually warned him too about falling on his knees, but he never gave him a stern warning, never said, "Hey, I'm taking a point away if you keep doing this," and obviously never deducted a point as well. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I don't believe in karma. But in this scenario, I guess, it's evidence that maybe it does exist because Parker spent a lot of the time clinching and then he ends up getting robbed. I don't know. Justice served, perhaps? I don't know. What do you think of all the clinching, Butch? All these people that say,
but it's part of boxing. The
boxing.
fight was boring. It was frustrating to see these guys not fight, basically. They did the bare minimum. Buatsi he would take over when he let his hands go, but he wasn't letting his hands go. That was the problem. I don't know if he was scared of Parker's power or whatever the fucking reason was. He wasn't letting his hands go. And the clinch, plus the clinching, the fight was boring. So my question to you, BDA, what's the future for these guys?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but now they're talking about Benavides versus Zurdo, which is something that people saw coming from a mile away as far as recently as a year ago. So who knows what's going to happen in this division. Benavides, who just recently got emailed the belt, he's probably moving up to cruiserweight. So right now it's slim pickings at light heavyweight. You got Bivol, who's coming back, by the way. He gave his list of preferred opponents. But Turbiev, as always, every other year he has to suffer an injury. So he's out of that fight. Yeah, he was going to fight in the Ring 4 card or 5, whatever it's called now. And so again, yeah, who knows? You got Callum Smith, you got Boazzi. Maybe they could do a rematch with that one. You got Yard and Benavides fighting. That's about it, really. Like heavyweight, there's not much going on there. So what's next for both guys? Maybe a rematch. Maybe there's a little bit of bad blood now. Maybe the second fight actually turns out better. But yeah, like I said, light heavyweight division is like the middleweight division now. It's a bit of a barren wasteland.
Yep, yeah, but there's not much going on there. So, and with that, with this performance that Boazzi pulled off, I mean, and Parker as well, I don't see any excitement from the crowd, for the audience to see these people again. But anyways, fuck that fight. Is there anything else you want to talk about that happened?
Well, yeah, I mean, just the fact that whole thing, man, that it's, the clinching, it's unbelievable. And Taylor, what's his name again? I forget the guy's first name, but the referee, Rich Taylor something. He was the one who was refereeing Guido Vianelli versus Jose Torres, and Richard Torres versus Vianello, and he very vehemently warned Vianello for all the clinching, even took a point away in the fourth round. And it was one of the first times in recent memory that I'd seen a referee actually apply the rules vis-a-vis clinching. And I said, yes, there you go. It looks like he's going to, Thomas Taylor, shout out to Manos Dinamita, Thomas Taylor. I was actually quite pleased. I said, man, this is going to be the first fight in a while where we see a guy get penalized and disqualified for the clinching. After all that jawing and, hey, I'm a point away, blah, blah, blah. We saw 7 more rounds of Taylor allowing him to do the clinching, which that actually in a lot of ways.
This because it's become, I think, common in boxing for these refs to issue warnings and never really implement any point deductions, or rarely. So yeah, that's what it is. It's just a warning, right? You need to take a point off.
I think you're the one that said too that some of these referees are afraid that they're gonna destroy the show, because and I'm pretty sure they probably get. I'm pretty sure. I mean, again, I don't have any hardcore. I can't prove this, but I would imagine that the promoters and the commissioners too discourage disqualifications, because it really is a bit of it's a ruined ending. It's like a ruined orgasm. It's it's building up, and all of a sudden it just flops. Like, what the fuck? So people don't want to see disqualifications. Maybe just look at the reaction for most of the crowd whenever somebody gets disqualified. It's booing, it's throwing stuff into the ring.
Yeah, and then the referee then has to do like a report, or say like, the commission's like, why did you disqualify the guy? And then he has to explain himself. And well, the promoters are pretty angry at us right now. So we need an explanation. What happened? What did you see? So the referees go like, you know what? I don't want to go through that fucking bullshit trying to explain myself. I'm just gonna try and not disqualify a boxer.
But you know what? That's dumb in the long run, because okay, you're gonna piss off some of the tickets holders and the viewers at home. But in the long run, it's going to make for more entertaining fights, because right now, that's what we've been having for years. People, they don't want to disqualify guys for clinching, but then look at the type of fights we get. Look at the Boazzi-Zach Parker fight. It was boring. It was uneventful. We were watching it. I was watching it while writing on Discord. So in essence, we were watching it along with the people. And people were, again, one of the most entertaining aspects of actually watching some of these fights with people on Discord is that they make fun of the fights. And that's actually more entertaining than the fights themselves sometimes. So what I'm saying is, yes, maybe in the beginning, people are going to frown upon the disqualification or disqualifications, but in the long run, it's going to be good, because it's going to force guys to fight. Again, the example I always give, Oshaki Foster versus Rocky Hernandez. Rocky Hernandez, gone forward fighter. Oshaki Foster, emblematic of the ass style. And he was clinching a lot. He would leap back, and then when his back would hit the ropes, he would go to his go-to move, which was clinching. The referee warned him, no more clinching. He was forced to fight. And wouldn't you know it, the guy actually had it in him to fight back and score a stoppage. And he was behind on the scorecard. So if he would have fought the way he wanted to, he would have lost the decision. And then we would have heard him crying about, oh, the referees are corrupt, and we would have had some fans. It's the sweet science. You don't understand boxing. No, the clinching is prohibited. The WBC, for some strange reason, are the only ones that make an exception.
It's part of his style. It's part of the style.
The WBC, by the way, the WBC also agrees that it is illegal, but they just add the disclaimer of excessive clinching. So they themselves, in that ruling, are saying that clinching is bad. Maybe not, obviously it's a question of quantity, but nevertheless, they were admitting that too much of it is a bad thing. So all of that to say is that they better start disqualifying these guys. They better start taking our advice, because I'm a consumer. I know what I want, and I don't want to see clinching. Most of the people we talk to here don't want to see clinching either. And if they're afraid of disqualifying these guys, then we're gonna keep getting the same shit sandwiches, and we're all forced to take bites out of it. I've had enough of it, really.
Enough of the shit sandwiches. Yeah, no, I agree completely. I mean, we've talked about this extensively about the holding and the referees not doing their job. We should do a show specifically on that topic. But let's move on here. Let's go with. Let's start talking about the fight that's taking place this weekend. So we have Virgil Ortiz fighting Alexander Erickson Lubin. That's gonna be in Fort Worth, Texas. It's gonna be at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. over there in the UK.
Whoa.
Yeah, BD, just give us your overall perspective.
Assessment. I'm going to give you the rundown. I'm going to give you the dossier on both guys. Virgil Ortiz, 27 years old, 23-0. He's got 21 big knockouts. Erickson Lubin, though his record nowadays, everyone's more impressed with the O's, but he's actually got quite a solid dossier himself here in the junior middleweight division, rated number 5 by Ring Magazine. He's got 27 wins, 2 losses, all of them by stoppage. We'll get to that. But he also has 19 knockouts. So he can crack. The thing I like about this fight is, oh, by the way, Victor Conte died. So we're going to have to, that's connected to Ortiz here in this fight. But before we get to that, let's get to the fight itself. Erickson Lubin has built quite a resume for himself. And the thing I like about this fight is that Lubin is not a runner. If people watch that video we did about Jaron Ennis and it's called Jaron Ennis and the 154-pound division or something like that. It's essentially a video about the 154-pound division. And it might be outdated a little bit now because that was before Fundora beat Tim Tszyu in the rematch. But nevertheless, I think it still holds true about all of these guys' strengths and weaknesses. And Erickson Lubin, he's not a runner. That's what I like about him. And he can actually crack pretty well. And Ortiz, we know he puts on that intelligent pressure style. He himself, too, for some reason, he doesn't have as much fanfare as other fighters, even though when you take into consideration that he's got a win over Kavaliauskas, that's a stoppage win right there. He's got a win over Boachuk, although disputed, but hey, he fought like hell in there and walked away with the thinnest of majority decisions or split decisions, whatever it was. But nevertheless, it was a war, and he showed he could box in that one too. And then, of course, in his last fight against Israel Madrimov, some people argue that he actually beat Madrimov easier than Crawford did, or without as much difficulty as Crawford. So 3 solid wins. Still doesn't seem to get that much of a praise. In fact, I heard, I don't know if this is true, no, somebody posted on the Discord, this fight is not selling all that well down there in Texas. I don't know if people are just fatigued from boxing. Maybe it's the economy, maybe it's all of the above, who knows? But this is one of the best fights we've had since the vacuum that Crawford-Canelo created. So it should be, I'm looking forward to it. I want to hear from other people what they think about the fight before I give my further thoughts.
Yeah, I bought tickets to that. They gave you a free Whataburger for buying tickets, so they're clearly not selling. A free burger, a coupon for a burger.
I thought you said Waterburger. I said, what the fuck's a
Whataburger, whatever it's called.
Wada. Yeah. What about the USADA burger? Don't they have those there?
The Conte burger or the Conte pack. We're smoking it.
Come on. Well, we'll get to Conte. We'll get to Conte. Believe me.
But yeah, so to this one. So. I'll just jump in real quick. I was looking forward to this one as much as I was when Lubin fought, what was it, Fedora, right? Yeah, several years ago. And it was an exciting fight between this. It was a test for both guys. And this technically is too, except it's almost like a crossroads, even though Lubin's not that old. He has been towards the top twice and come up short. He's expected to come up short here. And that's what makes this fight even more exciting, is because if he doesn't think he's supposed to come up short, and everybody else thinks he does, he can put on a very good performance, and it could end up being close to a barn burner. That doesn't mean I think he's going to win, but I'll just put it this way: Augie Sanchez took on an old warhorse, and I forgot his name. John Michael Johnson, and found out in the first round that John Michael Johnson wasn't the crossroads stepping horse they thought he was. So things can happen in boxing when if both parties aren't extremely 100-point ready, and Virgil doesn't look like he takes opponents lightly. That's why this should be a good fight for him. But Lubin, if he doesn't think he's the underdog, if he thinks that it's foolish he should be the underdog, that could make this a good fight.
Well, the odds are 7-1 for Ortiz according to Odds Checker DraftKings.com here. I'm unable to log into DraftKings right now. Well, I don't know how to fucking read the odds here too well, but it says Virgil Ortiz minus 700, and then it says draw no bet minus 900. I don't know what that means, but the first one that comes up is a minus 700. So it seems like the market has confidence in Lubin. Again, Ortiz is rated number 1, by the way, in the junior middleweight division. Erickson Lubin rated number 5. So this is a very good fight for the division. By the way, shout out to Jin Ryu 33 for his contribution with the super chat. Shout out to him, Jin Ryu 33. That's a degree that was given. I mean, that's a degree that he had. You can't earn it. It's given to you. So shout out to Jin Ryu. He says, salute BDA and Bucho. Virgil will destroy Lubin. Lubin will exchange with Virgil and we'll go. And what's it? Oh, yeah. Lubin will exchange with Virgil and will go to sleep within 6 rounds, especially if Virgil loads up on hamburger helper, the good kind BDA. Shekel for las cualquieras. All right. Shout out to Jin Ryu. Really appreciate it.
Talking about that ass? The ass? Or what?
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Is he talking about ass flavored hamburger helper? We know that's those are the 2 things that he's into. And by the way, listen, that photograph of him allegedly eating ass. Chief dropped out as soon as we started talking about eating ass. By the way, I never actually said it myself directly. I just, alluded to it, but I guess that was enough for Chief to drop out. But what I was going to get to is that, Jin Ryu believes that it's going to be early. It could be. I mean, Lubin is chinny. So there is that possibility, but he's also quite durable. I mean, that's what I wanted to talk about. If you look at Fundora fight. Boacha gave him a fight, and then I do think that was it could be because Virgil Ortiz came back too soon and had no really no rounds to speak of for about almost 2 years. All his fights prior to that, the 2 ones that he had at 154 ended in less than a round. But Fundora stopped. First of all, what's his name? Charlo stopped Lubin. That was before anything got started or anything could happen. He caught him with a weird angle tap of right hand. And that was all she wrote. Then Fundora managed to stomp him, managed to look him like Willem Joppy in the Bernard Hopkins fight. But Lubin did get some of his own licks in there, managed to hurt and drop, Lubin. So, Fundora. He managed to drop Fundora there too. Had him hurt badly. So, like I said, Lubin can crack. Now, the other thing is he also had a short war against Rosario. So he can, and Rosario, again, he's got heavy hands. He can crack too. So it's not like Lubin is getting hit by these powder puff punchers, but nevertheless, Ortiz is a big, heavy-handed guy too, at least against lesser level opposition. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jin Ryu's prediction comes true. Maybe it ends under 6 rounds, but he's got to be very careful against Lubin's quick hands because Lubin's got that type of quick hands that can make people recede into a shell.
All right. Well, I hope Virgil Ortiz wins, but I want to hear more people here. Gonzalo, give us your take, or Gypsy, anybody.
On what exactly?
Ortiz and Lubin.
Well, the round that I recall that Lubin got knocked out, I believe was like when he got caught, probably when he was cold. He hadn't warmed up enough. Didn't expect to get hit clean with a straight right hand by Charlo. I believe he got caught cold, and that's why he got dropped. But then subsequently, later he got hurt in his career against Fundora. I think that was around like the 8th round. But like Mr. BDA said, he took a beating. It was pretty tough. It wasn't like he got knocked out or anything with 1 shot. I think he was still on his feet. Maybe he took a knee. Then eventually, I think they threw in the towel. But is he chinny? Not too sure because I think he just got caught cold. Do I think Virgil wins? Of course, I think he wins because he's a heavy-handed guy, and they're prepping him for bigger and better things. So he's the favorite. Could Lubin pull out the?
Do we lose Gonzalo? No, go ahead, Gonzalo.
No, he's back on the bamboo stick over there in the Philippines.
He's on that moon.
No, you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. So you say, can Lubin win? Like, can we see an upset? Is it likely?
Well, he's got power too. He's not necessarily old or shot. He's game. I would say about 70-30, 65-35 in favor of Ortiz.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing, though. I'm a little bit. Listen, might as well get into it now. The whole snack thing. Victor Conte passed away, and some people. There were some people in the Discord. You got maybe the viewers. They're not all part of the Discord, maybe, but some people were. There were about 2-3 people like, man, fuck that dude. He was bad for boxing. He ruined fighters' life. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. These fighters willingly went with him. It's not like he deceived them. It's not like he duped them. They knew what they were getting into. He got them with this whole thing of, hey, if everyone's cheating and you're cheating, then it ain't cheating. That type of stuff. And they willingly went into that. But he ended up dying, so we're not gonna hear from him too much anymore. Obviously, maybe some. But that's what I'm thinking is, dude, look, he wasn't alone in snack. So it wasn't a one-man operation.
Remy Kuchermi's still there. That's his right hand.
There you go. That dude. Yeah, the Russian that you talked about months ago.
Mm-hmm.
That dude's still there. Apparently, there's another dude that might still be there. I forget. It was an American dude. I think it was like his right-hand man. So, I mean, I don't assume that he was doing it by himself. Now, the question is, though, will it get as much publicity? That's what somebody else on the Discord was saying, is under different management, is it going to be as prevalent as it was a couple of months ago? Because, again, one thing about Conte, he was a narcissist. He admitted so himself. He liked being out there. He liked having his face and that weird mustache, that John Waters mustache, plastered all over the cameras, and him talking about his guys, my guy. So without him, will the company work as well? I mean, they can have a good product, but if they don't know how to sell themselves or whatever, it's going to be interesting to see from here on out where Snack goes. And that's the thing with Virgil Ortiz is he's with Snack, but he's also already talked about moving up to 160. You're thinking, why would you want to move to 160 when 154 is red hot? There's nothing going on at 160. It's a barren wasteland. So I don't know if he's already having trouble making weight. And that's the thing. You never know. He looked bad against Boachuk. Now I'm thinking, was it because of the layoff and those two tune-ups weren't enough because they all ended within a round? Or is it just he might not be that good? I mean, he looked sensational against Madrimov, that's for sure. So what could it be? I guess we got to find out come Saturday.
He didn't look bad against Boachuk. He just got caught with 2 good shots. That's it. I think he beat up Boachuk pretty comfortably. The Boachuk is just a tough dude. I mean, he's a very strong guy, extremely strong dude. He's
That's
like, he's like Bakram. Bakram's, but he possessed power, but Bakram got more skill than Boachuk does.
Well, I gotta tell you though. Boachuk is the least of his problems, and Lubin isn't. I think Ortiz should take away that logo, that Snack logo. There's plenty of other people he can go work with, because I'm telling you, I think those dudes are a liability. What happens if another Balco happens, where a lot of these, it turns out somehow it turns out all these guys, Crawford, Jaron Ennis, Haney, turns out that they're all giving things that they shouldn't be taking. Then retroactively, maybe not in boxing, because in boxing they don't. The consequences aren't as that big, but it would sully his image all in the long run, way after the fact. So I think it's a big risk. I think he should go with, I think he should really, it's a big risk. I'm saying it's a liability.
Cover his ass, pretty much. That's what you said. Cover his ass.
That's what Rayfield Shapiro calls it, covering your ass. It's a legal term, apparently.
Exactly. I think the fight between Virgil and what's his name? Damn, fucking. Somebody help me out with his name. I was
Lubin.
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 Yeah, Lubin. It's gonna be all the way till the end, and I think Virgil's gonna knock him out late. He's gonna knock him out late because Lubin is not the better boxer, but I think he's gonna take a lot of shots. He's gonna try to prove something. He might even win 2 rounds, maybe at best 3, and then he gets stopped late. I think he gets caught like in the 11th or the 10th, and he gets stopped. The punishment's gonna accumulate, and he's gonna get stopped because of the punishment. But I don't know. Well, maybe it goes to decision. It's possible they could also go to decision.
Well, you know what though, Ortiz did sort of take his time against Madrimov.
Yeah, what's that sound? Yeah. Gonzalo, can you mute, please? I don't know. This is like a background noise.
Are you in your truck listening to the show with the speakers on? I think that's... All right. Anyway, as I was saying, man, Yeah, Ortiz versus Madrimov. I don't. If you rewatch those first 4 rounds, Ortiz was blocking most of the shots. Madrimov was trying to lure him in by moving around. He wasn't landing much. Ortiz was landing. Again, not much was happening, but whatever was happening favored Ortiz. Not if you listen to the commentary, either the American DAZN commentary or the UK DAZN commentary. These dudes were thinking that Madrimov was clearly outboxing him just because he was moving.
The fuck?
I'm telling you, I was actually even going to do a video about it, but you get lost doing other things. But they were saying like, oh my God, he's the movement, he's outboxing him, and blah blah blah. And then you saw what happened. So with different judges, or maybe guys who watch fights like these fucking commentators, maybe if Ortiz starts too slowly this time, because that's what happened to Jesus Ramos. I thought Jesus Ramos was gonna stop Lubin, and he pressed him back, he outworked him. But then he took the pedal. He took the foot off the pedal in the last rounds. And look, in boxing, in the professional ranks, you can't take your foot off anything, man. If anything, you got to put your foot and your neck behind people's necks because you got to go for the knockouts. Like Emmanuel Stewart used to say. He used to say, I don't like decisions anymore. I like when guys go for the knockout because you can't trust these judges anymore. And it's true. You cannot trust the judges.
That voice.
That's Emmanuel Stewart's voice. That's exactly how it sounds. I recognize us it better, but he's not here right now. But
the point is really well.
The point is that, yeah, you should be going for the knockout. You should be closing the show. But that's what I'm saying is Lubin has quick hands. And I think there's a lot of guys out there that don't know how to handle his speed. And they recede into a shell and they go, I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm going to just, don't want to open up too much against the dude. Man, you got to open up. You can stop him. But it's going to take a little bit of panache. You're going to have to put some elbow grease on there. Put yourself up by your bootstraps and whatever other expression is out there that I want to overuse. He's got to go for it.
Fedor went for it and he stopped him.
Ortiz, you don't have to worry about that. Ortiz does bring it. I think if he stops him, it's going to be late though. I don't think it's going to be like an early stoppage and within 6 rounds or 7. He's not going to do a Charlo on him.
You never know.
It's possible you can, but he's got to catch him with a clean shot. I just don't think Lubin is going to get caught that early.
By the way, is it Lubin or Lubin? Because I think the guy's got some French in him or something. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Erickson Lubin.
Creole?
Yeah, probably. He's a Afro-Franco, maybe. Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
It's probably short for lubricated.
Nah, come on. Nobody thought that. Get him out of here, Pucho. Get him out of here.
Yeah. What's best for boxing? An Ortiz win. Right? That's good for boxing.
Because it sets up the Boots fight.
He sets up a bunch of fights, especially a Boots fight, obviously. But hey, what about maybe Fundora? I know he's with the PBC, but maybe they can do that one. There's Sander Zayas out there, Baranchik. No, not Baranchik. What the fuck am I saying? Murtazaliev. Yeah. Great division. So, yeah.
Jesus Ramos is still out there.
Jesus Ramos, who's going to be fighting Shane Mosley Jr.
Hey, you got Abbas Barou, the guy who beat the Cuban recently. What was the guy's name? It's the Cuban. That's a flash in the pan. I already forgot his name. It wasn't Yoeli Hernandez. That's a middleweight. Fuck, I can't believe I already forgot his name. Anyway, you got Ramos. You got Brandon Adams who pulled the upset off against Baranchik. So you got a good bunch of fights in the mix there.
Oh wait, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. But Reyes is saying Ramos is moving up. It's true because that's what we're talking about.
Tell us, you mean?
Where Ramos is moving up?
Yeah, because Mosley Jr. is a middleweight. Somebody mentioned that. Like it's true, Mosley, and then I'm thinking Ramos.
But is that just for that fight or is
okay?
Is
let
me
check. Let me verify. You keep on talking.
The fuck would you move up to 160? I mean, listen, 160. Maybe people are moving there because it's a barren wasteland now. And it's you can get yourself. I mean, I don't know, man. Lara, I gotta check the rankings here on middleweight because Janibek versus Lara, it's not for the ring title, right? I wouldn't expect it to be.
Lara, good question. I have no idea.
I'm checking now.
Maybe Turkey wants to do that. Maybe he wants to give them the ring magazine. So then Crawford fights the winner, and he fights for the ring magazine. I don't know.
I think Crawford, you're going to see a sudden retirement now that Conte passed away. But hold on, I'm looking. Yeah, Janibek. No. Okay. So
I don't think so.
Lara isn't even in the top 10 at middleweight. I thought for sure he was.
Fuck.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was. Anyway, so yeah, Janibek versus Kadames. That would have to be the. That's the only. Maybe if Ring Magazine would allow Janibek versus Chris Eubank, but Chris Eubank ain't never gonna fight Janibek unless he decides to cash out at some point. But I don't think he's gonna ever fight that dude.
I think Eubank will fight. I think Eubank is always dying for a title shot. He barely gets one. I'm not saying he'll beat Janibek, but he's dying for a title shot. After this fight, he's gonna look for a title shot. He's gonna knock out Conor Benn if he doesn't come out dehydrated.
Well, he better not die. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He better not die trying to make weight because he looked awful the last time against Conor Benn. They're trying to make weight, man. Those catchweights ain't no joke.
Yeah, he came out like a dead man. Still beat him. I don't think Conor Benn did anything good. And I think if he comes out not dehydrated, he knocks him out. He should knock him out. Probably would. And the thing is, Eubank, I don't think he's afraid of fighting Janibek. He won't win, but he's not afraid of fighting him. Janibek against Lara should be good. I think Janibek should knock out Lara. Should be a knockout, like above mid round.
The fuck is that sound?
Maybe like 8. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. It's because Gonzalo, you get some. If you can hear me, because he's messaging me. You get background noise, man. Sounds like you got the speakers on or something. That's why we had to mute you because every time we unmute
Philippines, man. In the woods.
Well, whatever. But anyway, yeah. Look. By the way, am I the only one with the Chris Eubank thing? People make too much of a big deal out of him walking out with his father. It's like, oh, he's not gonna show up. And all of a sudden, Dad shows up, and everyone's like, yeah,
with a fur coat.
I don't know, man.
It's because people have daddy issues, bro. People have daddy issues.
Yeah, it seems maybe, man. Maybe.
By the way,
Like, I wish my dad would talk to me.
By the way, the Shetland distributor says, yes, Ramos is fighting for the WBC Intern 160 belt. They are going to strip Adames soon.
What the fuck? The WBC Intern. So I know Mosley Jr. Who did he beat recently? Daniel Jacobs? Now all of a sudden he's in line, him and a dude moving up from 154. They're fighting for a vacant.
It's a joke, man.
It's getting ridiculous.
Why do people still insist on, hey, these guys are titleist?
Tradition, you know, the Suleiman talking about the WBC, why
I'm going to go into the ring.
I'm going to
punch his fucking last name is Suleiman.
I'm going to punch somebody in the face.
How much you want to bet that if they would have taken? How much you want to bet that if they would have taken Suleiman down, he's the type of guy that as he's going down, he grabs onto a guy's balls and yanks him down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's his go-to move. Just go for the test.
He'll eye gouge and shit, man. He's a dirty fighter.
Wait, what kind of name is Suleiman? That doesn't sound like a Mexican last name.
He's Lebanese, I think. Lebanese, Mexican or something. Yeah, like Salma Hayek.
Okay.
Who's the Victor Conte's arch nemesis? I forgot the other guy.
Memo Heredia.
Memo Heredia.
By the way, I was laughing. Sorry, I was laughing because in the Discord somebody posted a video of. Remember when Memo was working with Benavides, and when Benavides fought Plant was with Conte. So essentially it was Memo Heredia versus Conte. And somebody posted a video. Apparently after the fight itself, after Benavides beat Plant, Memo Heredia was in the dressing room, and somebody's filming him as he's talking to a phone, recording at like an Instagram message or something. He goes, "Shout out to David Benavides, hard work always pays off, blah blah blah." And Victor Conte, you lost again. Go fuck yourself. And but somebody just clipped the part that where he goes, "Victor Conte, you lost again. Go fuck yourself." And they made it seem as if that's what he recorded that message after Conte passed away. Like, come on, who's gonna be recording themselves? Actually, there was one guy. Long story short, I talked about in Second Renaissance. A guy went after Anthony Bourdain, you know, the chef guy who ended up killing himself. Yeah, and
he didn't kill himself.
There was a Jewish guy who got into it with him on Twitter, and so when Anthony Bourdain died, the Jewish guy goes, "Hey." Oh, because Bourdain had called him an asshole, a dripping asshole or something like that. And then the guy goes, "Hey, Anthony." And the guy's dead, by the way. He goes, "Hey, Anthony, who's the dripping asshole now?" I was like, what the fuck? What? It's just some fucking lunatics out there, man.
Dude, wait, BDA. Memo Heredia is going to show up to Victor Conte's funeral just to make sure that nigga's dead, bro.
Yeah, he's going to flip the casket over. He's going to want it tested. I want it tested. I want a full PED check. That's what he's going to say.
Yeah,
where's his saddle?
How old is he? How old is Memo?
I mean, if without PEDs, he probably would look like he's 70 or something. But right now, he looks like he's in his 50s, maybe.
Okay, so you got a few more decades. They're gonna all go to him now. I was gonna say,
maybe.
That's it. I mean, no more high quality pets. They have to find someone else.
Well, that was the funny thing about Conte. He was always talking about watch out for Memo, watch out for Memo. And then people were like, well, wait a minute. He's doing VADA testing, which you're championing and clamoring for all the time. Well, so why are you suddenly worried about Memo Heredia? So that's when you started realizing that the whole VADA testing and the Conte Association, that was all for show. These people can circumvent the tests and they know how to do that. So neither guy should be in the sport, but it is what it is. Boxing, we're one of the few channels that talks about this. And if you talk too much about it, depending on which fighter is involved, you a hater. Why are you hating? Why are you hating so much? Why don't you go fuck yourself?
Hey, BDA.
Yes.
I was wondering, it took me by surprise. I looked up Victor Conte's age. He was only 75. I mean, the Bible says you live in between 70 or 80. But given that he was in the business of helping other fighters like stay healthy by performing all these tests, couldn't he have done something a long time ago to better his pancreas?
He had cancer, Gonzalo.
That pancreatic cancer that pancreatic cancer apparently is one of the worst, and it's one of the most
deadly. Like once it hits over 10% of the pancreas, you have like a 90% chance of living. Something like that. It's insane.
So, and by the way, that's what I was thinking. Do PEDs affect the liver or the pancreas in some way, or is there a prevalence to? Because he was on PEDs, by the way, he would take his own stuff back in the Balco days. So I don't know if there's a. I don't think so, because otherwise I think we'd be hearing about more guys juicing and having pancreatic problems or pancreatic cancer. I guess it was just one of those things that happens, man. It sucks. It sucks to go.
So what happens to the snack program now?
Oh, it still exists. That's what I was saying. What's that?
He didn't drink enough orange juice. That was the problem.
Okay, what the fuck? He didn't eat enough yogurt. No, but what happens to it? It's still going to be around, Gons. It's still going to be around. But now the question is, as I was saying earlier, Victor Conte was the ultimate salesman because he wanted to be in front of the cameras all the time. He wanted to be the guy. He wanted to be the spokesperson for it. So now it's still going to exist, but is it going to be as successful as it was before? Who knows? Time will tell.
Yeah,
Victor
probably.
You look like an old school porn star, bro. Like that's how Victor Conte always. That's how I imagine him.
He gives you Ron Jeremy vibes.
Yeah, like Ron Jeremy. I never watched Ron Jeremy porn, but you know what I mean. Like,
don't you lie?
I think he was married.
Don't you lie?
I think he was married to like a chick. By the way,
he was married to whom?
I think he was married to a young Filipina girl.
Is that right?
Did
you ever see Victor Conte over down there in the Philippines?
Was she putting right
no.
person?
Hey, maybe she stabbed him.
I think that maybe like
him.
Since he was the man behind the snack, and then you have like Memo Heredia, like kind of rivals. I mean, they were like the main two dudes in boxing. And, Victor Conte was the guy with the baseball thing like before he moved into boxing. You kind of get the vibes that he had like the grandma secret recipe, the recipe that you never want to give away to somebody else, So I don't think somebody else could take it over because he probably knew stuff that he didn't want to give away his secrets. Because if other people know it, they would start a new business to rival his.
Maybe because he did get burned over with Heredia. Again, let's not forget him and Heredia actually were cohorts. And then I forget if the falling out was after the fact of the investigation started, and I think Heredia cooperated, and that's what created a lot of the rift. But yeah, it never fully healed. Those guys were bitter enemies. But Gonzalo, I do think the guys work with other people. He can't do it alone, Conte. Even during the Balco days, like I said, he wasn't doing it alone.
Remy was the first guy to help him out, and Remy still knows all the things, bro. Trust me.
There you go.
Remy got away with it in the Olympic scale as well. So it's gonna continue. This doesn't end, bro.
I wonder since his business was kind of like borderline legal, but maybe could be considered illegal to some people, if they're gonna give him the 10 count in the November 8th fight.
That's a good question, huh? That's a good question because he was a known figure. You know what? It's going to be interesting because that opens up a whole bottle of a precedent. Like, hey, you're going to be putting in a guy who helped, because there people make the argument that in the Baseball Hall of Fame, which I've mentioned before, has stricter regulations than the International Boxing Hall of Fame. If a guy got caught cheating, that's it. They're never gonna be. They're never allowed in there.
Pete Rose is not in there.
There you go. So in boxing, it's different. I mean, people always talk about the cheat. Canelo. People never stop mentioning the fact that he got caught with something in 2018, even though the hair follicle sample afterwards proved that there was contamination that was at hand. People still don't forget about it. So are they gonna celebrate and commemorate Victor Conte's memory, even though he helped people cheat way more people? How many was it during the Olympics and weightlifters and boxers? I mean, I don't know, man.
It was 14 athletes. He was caught.
Jeez, Luis. So
in boxing, it was 7 people that popped with him.
Yeah. So are you really gonna give that guy the 10 count? I don't know. But hey, can I say one last thing about that before we move on? Because we do have other stuff to get to here. Tank Davis. I don't know if people saw this. He tweeted out something, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something along the lines of, "Oh, now that a good day for boxing." Oh, I got it right here. Sorry. He said. Good day in boxing. No more snack, but he said that snack as in as an edible snack for you bastard. For you bastard. Well, he sounds like an Irish guy. You fucking bastards. But yeah, so that's what he said. What do you guys think about that? Some people were giving him flack for it.
Kind of based.
I mean, this whole concept of don't speak ill of the dead. So okay, so when you're telling me, Vic Cheney just died today. It was announced today. I mean, I think he did. He did more than just speak ill of the dead during his lifetime. So why should he be, why should people respect him just because he died? Why, so just dying now makes people have to respect you? I don't get that.
Well, fuck that guy. He was evil.
Yeah, he was evil. Yeah, right.
Fuck that guy. Man.
Oh, hold on. Dick Cheney. You're saying Dick Cheney, not Conte, just because people.
He was evil. Conte was evil.
Yeah.
You know that guy shot a dude in the face with the shotgun.
Yeah, and got away with it too.
Yeah.
Can you believe that this dude Cheney shot somebody? The cops couldn't even get to him. So the Secret Service had him corralled from them as they worked out the story, and then they finally say, "Okay,
away with it."
Yeah, imagine you shoot somebody in the face, and the cops can't talk to you. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, yeah, that's the. Well, yeah, it was just what do you think about that then, guys? Tank Davis, Butch, what do you think about that? Tank Davis saying that.
I mean, Tank Davis is a lot of things that don't make any fucking sense. I try not to make any sense of what he says. I don't even think he understands what he's saying. So, yeah, I'm more interested in what's going to happen with Jake Paul in this circus fight that's now off. Now we have Jake Paul, calling out Ngannou, and Ngannou's actually replying to Jake Paul. Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
But why did that happen? Because I thought that incident, I tried to look it up, and the only thing that I found was from like 5 years ago. So the girl sued him now when this fight's about to happen for that incident that happened in the past? Or did he do something recently?
Somebody explained that to me as well, because I'm not sure. Was this a recent incident or was this an incident from
I think it's from 5 years ago, I think.
Okay. So now the reason why Jake Paul had to cancel the fight apparently is because, as you guys know, Jake Paul, he's trying to promote these female boxers. Right, so it's all about power, What's it called?
But that doesn't make
women power, empowering women.
That doesn't make sense. That happened 5 years ago. He should have known.
Yeah, that's what somebody said. I think it was Montero or somebody. I don't remember. On Twitter, they're like, you just realize that this guy, he beats up women. Like, everybody knows this, and you still try to make a fight with the guy, and all of a sudden it's like, oh well, I didn't realize. Oh no, you're. He called him garbage, of human being, garbage of something like garbage, whatever. He called him. Shit.
And why would the girlfriend or the wife, the significant other, try to screw up the bag? If he knows he's gonna fight Jake Paul and make millions, why not sue him later? When the guy's got more money, so you can take more of his stuff. She wants to settle out of
court or something. She wants a payment. But yeah, you're right. He could have done it before. But maybe they're like, you're going to be in a rush to just settle it. I don't know.
And then again, Bucho, it was like with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., they knew he was involved with the cartels prior to the fight taking place and that his visa wasn't updated.
Yeah.
That, ICE knew about it. And don't you think Jake Paul knew about the whole situation with Julio Cesar Chavez?
The government probably. The government knew about it. Probably they're like, well, no, let him fight. We'll take some, a bit of his paycheck, and then we'll kick him out of the country. That was pretty much how it happened. I'm pretty sure. But anyways,
but you know what's interesting? You know what's interesting about that Jake Paul? That's true, man. That Jake Paul knew what Tank Davis was. Forget about the allegations because there's been plenty of allegations of him assaulting people, and then there's that video of him choking out. Well, not choking out, but that's I'm going to Food TV territory here. Oh, he choked him out. No, but he was choking on that girl, grabbed her by the neck at the basketball game, and then there was the incident in which he went to jail for, which was running over a pregnant woman, or running into her, I should say, and then fleeing the scene when she was bleeding, asking for help. So yeah, we know that type of guy. And Jake Paul still chose to make a fight with him. By the way, I know Jake Paul.
Human piece of shit. Human piece of shit.
So, but what does that make him then? Giving this human piece of shit money, then giving him a payday?
He was fighting a human piece of shit to make some money. Exactly. He gave him an opportunity.
Exactly. And by the way, Jake Paul, okay, Tank Davis beats up on women. He's a human garbage, walking garbage bag, whatever. What about Jake Paul beating up on the elderly, like Anderson Silva and Woodley and Nate Diaz, who, by the way, Nate Diaz should be in a hospice right now, with all the brain damage he's got. And same thing with Julio Chavez, former crack addict. Heel wearing. Remember that video of him wearing high heels and doing a very good job of walking on high heels? I've never seen a man be able to do that so effortlessly, unless he's at practice.
Pigeon.
Well, okay, come on. Let's not Pigeon. He paid his dues. But yeah, so Jake Paul is in the same bed. I'm going to go as far as he's just as guilty as Tank Davis, if not more, beating up on the elderly and drug addicts and making money of it. Shame on Jake Paul, the human garbage bag.
Didn't he? Was it Jake Paul or Logan Paul that made a video about like a guy who killed himself? And they literally showed the guy.
Dead. In Japan there, it was.
It was in Japan.
It was Logan Paul.
Yeah, but both of them were laughing at it. It was actually insane.
Both of them were there? I don't even know, man.
Yeah, because they're brothers. They used to be, their vlog channel used to be together.
They were always doing videos together. I don't know. So.
But by the way, what else does it say about this fight that people were saying Tank Davis? Remember, in 2023, that was the height of Tank Davis mania. After the Ryan Garcia fight, and people were saying, 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, which isn't even true. I don't even think it did that number. He's the face of boxing, Tank against anybody. He's fighting a guy who is mainstream famous in Jake Paul, and that the fight was selling horrible, apparently. He was doing horrible at the gate, which is what you would have expected to at least to do well at. And they couldn't even generate interest in that. That just goes to show you that Tank Davis, okay, if he would have fought Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson and Lomachenko, probably would have walked away with losses. But you never know. That's why you fight the fights. Look at Canelo, how many losses he's had. He's still the face of boxing, or one of the faces of boxing. So it would have been the same thing with Tank Davis. You just never know. You got to take your shot. But they decided to play it safe. Just like we were talking about earlier about these promoters and these commissions that refuse to disqualify guys for clinching because they're afraid, we're gonna piss off the fans. You're already pissing off us more by allowing the clinching. And it's the same thing with Tank Davis and his handlers. They didn't realize that by pissing us off, by giving us these subpar fights, eventually it's going to bite them back in the ass. And yeah, sometimes the risks pay off, marinating fans and all that. This is clearly a case of it not paying off. You just see that's a lesson for young fighters. You never know what's going to happen in your career. You never know what bitch is going to come out of the woodwork and sadly with a lawsuit. That's just what it is. 30 years old, still hasn't had a marquee fight. Well, when I say marquee fight, I'm talking about a world-class opponent. The Ryan Garcia fight.
Ryan Garcia's not a...
But that's what I'm saying. That was an event, exactly. But it wasn't for the lightweight championship. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. No, I just brought up that name because some people bring it up, right? They say like, "Oh, he fought Ryan Garcia. That was his big fight." Like, that wasn't, Mayweather Corrales or anything like that.
That's kind of like the first thing I think about when you guys say that is remember Timothy Bradley? He was going at it back and forth with Tank Davis. And Timothy Bradley said, all the guys that he's beat, I'll eat those guys up, basically. And he made that weird face, like, yeah, they're food for me. But the guys that I fought, Timothy Bradley said, can Tank Davis beat those guys? So that put things into perspective for me about a year ago.
I don't know if Tank Davis would have beaten Devin Alexander. I don't know if he would have been able to do that.
Who? Devin Alexander?
That's a guy that Tim Bradley beat. He was on the field.
I know who Devin Alexander is, but who are you guys talking about?
Well, I mean, okay, listen. Okay, Timothy Bradley beat Pacquiao in the first one. Whatever you think about it, Pacquiao didn't look too hot, so I think probably had something to do with that. Do you think Tank Davis would beat Manny Pacquiao?
No, and Devin Alexander probably not either. I mean, I don't know.
Or Juan Manuel Marquez, whom Bradley beat. So yeah, I mean, it's that whole. Phil Miles in the chat is saying, "Can we leave Tank out of the conversation?" Now, I've been wanting to for a long time now, and this is just again. I'm not too concerned about the allegations because I want to hear both sides of the story, and I want to see what this so-called lawsuit happens. But we already knew. He already got sent to jail because of running over a pregnant woman and fleeing the scene when she was asking for help while she was bleeding. So we already know what type of guy he is. So I don't understand why all of a sudden people are shocked. Like Jake Paul. Jake Paul it seems like he just took this opportunity to bail on a fight that wasn't selling well.
Exactly. That's probably it. Somebody was mentioning 2 weeks ago that the ticket sales weren't that great. They were pretty bad. So. But Jake Paul's still saying that he's going to be fighting, I think, on that same date.
Who can they find at the last minute to?
Well,
I mean, the fight that I'm surprised they've never made, him versus Masvidal.
Yeah. Well, you can do that one.
By the way, Masvidal's always up. Masvidal's always up for last minute fights. Pretty sure they could get him to step in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, listen, or apparently Ngannou is an option. I don't know if you actually believe that shit. What do you think will happen if they fought? What do you think will happen?
If it's a real boxing bout, Ngannou murders the guy. If it's a real fight, Ngannou murders him. I mean, look, listen. Say what you want about Tyson Fury in that Ngannou fight, the state that he was in. Yeah, he was fat. He took him lightly. That's still a world-class boxer. And Ngannou's like what, 6 feet 6 inches tall or something like that, over 250 pounds. Jake Paul has never. Yeah. He was reluctant to fight that Hasim Rahman's son, and he's now nowhere near world class as a boxer. And Ngannou, at least Joshua wiped the floor with Ngannou, but that first round, he still had to mind his P's and Q's in that first round because he didn't want to get, what was it, 2 rounds or 3 rounds that the fight lasted? I always forget.
Two rounds, no?
Was it 2 rounds or anyway? But that first round, you could tell that Joshua was a little bit hesitant, like, oh shit, this guy's got a good lead hand. Ngannou's got a good counter left hook, a good check left hook. Jake Paul, shorter. I mean, he would be afraid of this dude's punch. He would feel one punch and he'd be on his bike. Then again, I don't know if Ngannou would be able to pressure him. I don't know if Ngannou's got that ability as a boxer to pressure guys. He did well against Fury because Fury wasn't pressing him, and it was just a whole bunch of clinching in there. And so both guys were comfortable with that. But if he'd have to chase Jake Paul, I still think he would beat him. I think Jake Paul would shit his pants being in the same ring with Ngannou.
You think Jake Paul could hurt Ngannou?
No. I mean, Jake Paul can't. No, you don't think so?
I don't think so because if he couldn't hurt Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.,
it's true. Though.
Yeah,
that's true.
Given the size, I think he would respect Ngannou. Well, wait, Bucho, wait. What I'm trying to say is that I'm not saying that Jake Paul don't got power and that he cannot hurt Ngannou, but given the size of Ngannou, I don't think Jake Paul would step inside and trade shots for more than like 1 or 2 punches at a time that he wouldn't be able to set himself to land the real good shot because he would respect Ngannou's power too much. He's not going to sit in the kitchen too long and the wheelhouse.
I mean, this dude, that is Chavez, who had Paul looking bad in those last 2 rounds. That's Chavez, a former crackhead. Didn't have a good win in years. Well, was he smoking crack or something?
Oh, he's being crackhead.
I thought that's what he was up to. He was on crack. Yeah,
he's a cokehead. He's a cokehead.
Well, okay. Well, coke and crack are the same chemical, like near the same chemical compound. I think
it's just like cheap cocaine.
There you go. So there you go. So he was okay. He was on the high end crack.
The problem with Chavez and his brother is they can never really let their hands go. They always got they froze in the ring. Mm-hmm. And ultimately when Chavez got going, you could see that there was a difference when he started landing punches in the 9th and 10th round. But yeah, that's the problem with the Chavez. They can never let his hands go, even his brother.
Yeah. They Chavez, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., that's what made him so good, that he was fluent with his hands. He would let him go, tactical, precise punches. Chavez Jr. just didn't, he would recede into a shell whenever he got hit with something like against Martinez and against Canelo and even against Jake Paul. So, Yeah, man. I mean, listen. Well, anyway, we're talking all this time about Jake Paul, but it's interesting because at some point people were thinking, oh, no matter who he fights, it's going to be a big event. But no, it hasn't, man. The Nate Diaz pay-per-view apparently didn't do all that well. Neither did the rematch against Woodley. The Chavez Jr. fight, they never released. Was that?
I think people are tired of it, so it's very fatiguing. It's the same shit over and over.
Yeah, the circus ending is coming to an end. Like the fascination, the intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
It's dying down now because especially after that Tyson fight, because that was so disappointing to the point where like people are like, okay, enough circus fights. Like I've seen enough of Jake Paul versus this washed up boxers, washed up MMA fighters. It's enough, you know. Either you turn pro, like you did boxing seriously, or I'm not watching your fights. Anyway, Jake Paul, you know, he's always talking about like this is my last fight before I, you know, take it really serious. Now I'm gonna fight a top 20 opponent. He always says that he never actually fights a top 10 or a top 20, I should say. So this guy's
his fans, they tried to say his fan he was gonna convert. He's gonna make new boxing fans. You know, he's gonna bring a whole new audience, but. I think his audience they don't know who Tank Davis is. They didn't. I mean, they heard of Chavez, but they don't know boxing. They're like into streamers like Kai Cenat. You know what I mean? Aiden Ross. They probably know more UFC people than boxing.
Yeah, probably. That's what he was saying. A bunch of UFC guys.
Ryan's kind of hip, but he's still a cornball. So boxing's not hip and cool like the UFC was at one point, you know? The UFC is more akin to like, well, how do I want to say it? Like they pumped up Ronda Rousey. Like think about that, how big she got. That's the UFC. They don't fuck with boxing like that.
You know, Frank, you guys, BDA, I started thinking like, okay, I think they were going to fight with 10 ounce or 12 ounce gloves. I think 12 because Jake Paul's a big guy. And Tank Davis is small, so I think he usually wears, 8 ounce? Or maybe 10s?
Yeah, 8 ounce. Under 154, it's 8 ounces.
But I'm thinking, he's a small guy. If he gets it in between, right on Jake Paul's chest, was it too much of a risk? Low reward. If Jake Paul gets hurt by a small guy, then they would say, oh, he's not really rated within the top 20 or, I don't know, top 15, what they got him now in the cruiserweight division. The Zurdo Ramirez fight would basically be a non-discussion, like who want to talk about that. But, also, he's a clown. He's always making fun of people, Canelo, posting weird shit. So now he's just coming off as being like very, BDA, like a very doing the right thing type of dude. But if he's blaming Gervonta Davis for an incident that happened 5 years ago, and he represents women, wouldn't you want to fight him to beat him up, to prove to the people, hey, here I am backing the women, as opposed to like, oh no,
that would be
well, that lends credence to the fact that it lends credence to the fact that you're right, Gonzalo. It does let credence to the fact that this fight wasn't selling well.
Yeah, they found an off ramp. They found an off ramp.
Exactly.
Take it, man. By the way, super chat, or I should say membership renewal from Rafael Garza. Thank you for that. He says, Mr. BDA, King Bucho, and Gonzalo, don't you think that the Paul brothers... yes. Don't you think that to fight the Paul brothers, there is stipulations that they will win via the scorecards, a fix? So...
Well, shout out to Rafael Garza for his reestablishing his membership program. Really appreciate it. And I don't think so, man. Maybe with the Tyson fight, because it really did. But then again, Tyson was an old man, so.
But then again,
but Tyson, Tommy Fury beat him.
Tommy Fury beat him, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Salute BDA, Bucho. Thanks for having me.
Frank?
The guns. But think about how much juice Paul has, because what boxer could command his own event on Netflix and then they pull out and they just put on? What boxer could they go, hey man, here's an event, go put it on? That's how much juice this kid Jake Paul has.
Well, it's limited though. It's limited. You're right. He does. I mean, Canelo Crawford had to happen for it to be taking place on Netflix. I don't think Crawford versus. I mean, forget about Crawford. I don't think he'd make it on Netflix with anybody else other than a big fight or Canelo. Maybe if he fought Anthony Joshua. But Canelo too. I mean, this is the type of fight that either him or Benavidez is the only fight I can see happening on Netflix. And I say that because Jake Paul, when he wanted to fight Chavez Jr., he tried selling it to Netflix. Netflix said no, they didn't want this fight. It's not worth it to them. So the Tyson fight was. This one apparently was too, because they thought they probably looked at the stats and the surveys and they say, oh yeah, Tank Davis, he's cool with the kids. But like Frank was saying, when you're cool in the boxing world, that doesn't necessarily, that's a very limited and minimal amount compared to the mainstream. Most people don't know who the fuck Tank Davis is outside of boxing.
That's true.
Yeah, I seen the chat say they of course the kids. Jake, I'm talking about his demographic. You have to really look at what are they, 18 to 24 young white guys. Like,
well, but that's the thing, Frank. A lot of white guys used to be. Yeah. A lot of white guys, young white guys, do listen to the hip hop, and they're into the hip hop thing. They even appropriate the slang. Although now, I don't know if you guys noticed. I don't know if you guys heard this article, but rap is at an all-time low after.
Yes.
So maybe now people are getting rap music is at an all-time. I don't know how they because they were looking at the top 500. I don't know if it was Billboard. What's the what?
Explanation.
I don't know. I don't know what the explanation is. Some people were speculating that maybe it's finally run its course. People are tired of it's because it's not even music anymore. It's mumbling.
Oh, that's true. Though it sucks. I don't even listen to that shit. I don't even know. It's not hip hop. It's
completely degenerate. I mean, come on. At least hip hop from the early '90s and and 2000s, it's had something going on for it. But now it's just and
there's no more artistry. What they're doing now, they're signing AI rappers. That's been
what the fuck? I saw that video of Rogan. He keeps playing AI video music to his guests, and he makes them listen to the whole track, and then he starts singing along to it. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It's AI music, man. I mean, I know it sounds good, but the human didn't make it. There's no soul behind it.
And he spoke about it once. He spoke about it. I didn't say that. He keeps talking about it in like back-to-back episodes. Like he's got.
I mean, look, boxing. They tried to make boxing cool. I think when HBO tried to do some like hip hop version of boxing.
Oh yeah,
it's just a hard sport to make cool.
KO Nation.
We love it, but
we had a DJ. We had a DJ. Remember that shit?
Yeah, and then they tried to do something similar with Thunderdome boxing, which is they were trying to mix wrestling storylines with the boxers into it, and they had characters and shit like that, and it went nowhere. So people think, hey, it's like movie producers when they go, what if we take, Halloween, but we make it, Dog Day Afternoon, so that way we get both the demographics. Like, nah, that doesn't work, man. So yeah, so that's the same thing.
I was looking for a picture of boxing HBO KO Nation for people who weren't too young to remember that shit.
Yeah, I mean, their gimmick was obviously to make a hip hop culture through boxing with rap halftime rap shows, and Turkey tried to do it, and I think he was like, nah, we're gonna scrap this, because wasn't the Madrimov Crawford, they had like a hip hop intermission? It was like, it's just.
No, I thought that was wasn't that Oasis or the guy from Oasis? I always forget the name. Liam Gallagher.
Gallagher.
I think it was one of those Gallaghers. Yeah.
There was one show I think they tried to do a hip hop. Was it Fury and Usyk? Was that when they had like a rapper in the middle of the show?
I don't remember, man. I remember in 2010. I think in 2010, I think they had Nelly for Pacquiao Claudia. I think that was, or Pacquiao Margarita. And I was thinking, like, listen, we've talked about it in the last show too. They got to stop it with the concerts. We're paying for the fights, not for concerts, man. And then there's like for Crawford Canelo, that was the worst. There was like 2 video montages before they walked out. Then some guy drumming, we're doing a 50-minute drum solo. Then the entrances, which took 20 minutes each. And then so by the time the fight started, it was 1 a.m, man. It was just, hey, some of us got shows to do, post-fight shows. They got to start thinking us into consideration. I know Frank Bay, I think he lives in the West Coast. Gonzalo, he's in the Philippines. He don't give a fuck what time of the day it is. So you guys are probably a little bit more okay, but here on the East Coast, it hurts. It hurts.
I think that they think that putting on a circus is gonna be like, you're gonna be like, oh, that was a memorable moment. When you had the giraffes and the elephants and the guy with the drums. Like nobody cares about that. We just want to see the fight.
It relates to Jake Paul because it's for the kids. It's for the 15, 13-year-old to say, hey, Dad, take me to see Tank Davis and the rapper that he's gonna be with. Like it's not for us, but us as boxing, it just doesn't fit boxing. They keep trying to make it cool, and I don't have any answer how you try to make it cool.
I mean, it's I don't know how it got like so diluted, where you have like the young kids, they want to see like. I think it's because of YouTube and social media that they're interested, but like before, it sounded if I sound a little drowsy because I took 4 Benadryl, I couldn't sleep. But anyways, back in the day, remember BDA when they had Oscar De La Hoya fighting Shaquille O'Neal and Shane Mosley fighting Shaquille O'Neal in celebrity fights? That was just like one thing they said. Okay, next year, we're gonna have this. Like they didn't promote it for months on end. It was just like, okay, we're everybody watching.
Well, that was for charity. That was for charity. That was for charity. So it wasn't gonna be. It wasn't an actual. Because this was supposed to be an exhibition fight, but they were supposedly going to go hard. They were really going to go, like The Rock said recently, they were going to go in deep, raw, and what else he say? I forget what else he said. The quote from The Rock.
I saw Shaquille O'Neal. He's a big guy. I don't think that he was not trying against those guys, against Mosley and De La Hoya. And I think that De La Hoya and Mosley were also trying to like, okay, I'm not going to get hit by this big guy,
Right.
It's basically the same thing. But now they're getting more important. The side shows, like the freak shows.
Yeah, well, to cap it off with the whole Jake Paul thing is, it's run its course. It's run its course because he thought in his mind, hey, I'm going to fight Tank Davis. And that's what he was saying. He was like, people wanted me to fight a real boxer. Guess what? I'm how about a lightweight champion of the world, pound for pound. It's like, first of all, he's not in the top 10 pound for pound. He's not the lightweight champion. And the guy is 5 feet 3 inches tall. Probably walks around 150 pounds, maybe 160, depending on how fat he gets when he's not running over pregnant women. And meanwhile, this dude is almost 6 feet inches tall, or almost 6 feet tall, close to 200 pounds. I mean, come on. Did they look at that? Yeah, look at that poster, which is funny. They're trying to make him look at this. That wouldn't have been the size difference. It would have been much more pronounced, man.
Oh, you're right.
So come on, man. I mean, what the hell were they thinking? So
you're right. Look,
I think people smelled the BS. And yeah, man, that's what you got going on there. People weren't gonna buy it this time.
Look at the size. They oh my fucking god. And people were talking in the chat about the poster. What the fuck is this all about? Like an elephant, a lion, and a tank.
And by the way, yeah, somebody in the chat Ray says Tank Davis is in the top 10. No, Ring Magazine doesn't have Tank Davis in the top 10.
Well, I mean, it was all to avoid did you guys say that this was all done for Tank Davis to avoid the Roach rematch?
Yeah. Do you think that PBC knows the end is near for Tank?
Well, no, they know. Look, he's gonna have to come back.
Yeah, Bucho.
Wait, hold on. Let Frank finish and then you can jump in.
I think he's going to have to come back. Man, the Tank Davis story is going to end like a lot of boxing stories. He's going to end like Adrian Broner. That's just the course he's on. I mean, he'll be fighting. He'll come back at 40 and try to fight. I just don't see it happening any other way for him. He's owned, man. I believe he's owned. Because usually boxers, usually the boxers of Tank Davis's stature, they usually go out on their own, right? Like De La Hoya, Ryan, he might go out on his own after Oscar. Why pay a middleman? Go run your own career. But Tank Davis, I don't think he has the what would it be? Wherewithal that he's comfortable with people running his career.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, well, that's the other thing you mentioned. Listen, when these guys.
Was that? No, Billy, I think it's just he hasn't fought that much. I don't know what kind of life he lives outside the ring, but he hasn't fought that much. He has taken a lot of damage. Like featherweights, Mexicans, or like a lot of fighters. They have a lot of fights and they're fucking in these wars, like Morales, Marquez, Pereira, and some other guys. But he's not fighting that often. He's not taking a lot of punishment. So can he recover and fight like a few more times for big paydays? Probably.
Well, that's the thing, though. We've been talking about that for the last month about who's going to be the next face of boxing. And one of the things we've determined is that, you got to be fighting a lot. You got to be seen. And that was one of the things with Tank Davis. For whatever reason, you want to blame the networks, you want to blame piracy, you want to blame his legal issues. For whatever reason, he hasn't been fighting that often. It's been once a year. I mean, think about it. 2020, he fought once, right, against Santa Cruz. And okay, that was because of the pandemic. Almost everybody only fought once a year. Okay, fine. 2021, he fought twice. But it was against Barrios and Santa Cruz. Those fights are horrible at the pay-per-view level. 2022, he fought once. 2023, finally, he fought twice. One was a success against Ryan Garcia, but the fight previous to that year was against Hector Luis Garcia, and it did horrible. So it just goes to show you that he's not that. It just showed you how he wasn't as big a name as they were trying to make it out to be. 2024 had one fight. This year, he's only had one fight. That's 6 fights in the last 5 years, half a decade, and only 6 fights. You know, if you're talking about Floyd Mayweather, De La Hoya, Cotto, Pacquiao, Canelo, these guys were fighting at least 3 times a year. And again, like I said, I know things have changed now. TV dates are limited, blah, blah, blah. But then that's a problem then. Because how's boxing going to create the next star if we're not seeing them that often? Yeah, so that's what happened.
Yeah, and for a guy that doesn't fight that often, he hasn't made that. He hasn't rewritten that draw, which should have been a loss. He hasn't made that right. I've never seen a fighter coming off a questionable draw become so popular in the sense that he was slated to fight Jake Paul for big money in an exhibition fight where he supposedly is built. He's like the name in boxing, but now okay, that fight fell through. But let's not forget, you know, he had a draw with Lamont Roach. It's not like his name was out there like he just set the world on fire on his last performance. He didn't.
That's a good point too, man. Yeah, you're right. It's like, oh, hey, he's going to be fighting Tank Davis. Okay, what did Tank Davis do? He just came off a controversial draw.
Yeah, what have he done lately?
Look, if you're a Tank Davis fan, you got to realize his heart's not in it. It never has been.
For sure.
Like Floyd Mayweather, maybe he didn't like boxing. He was raised in it, so it kind of came second nature, but he loved money. So that was his motivation, right? Same with Oscar. He was motivated by his dad. Say what you want about Shakira and Davina Hanke, but I think they actually like boxing. I think they have a hunger for the sport, as opposed to Tank Davis. He just seems like a guy. He's good. He's talented, and he likes getting paid for it. But his heart is not in it.
Yeah, but in guys like Mayweather, maybe they would have liked to retire, but they understood. Like, listen, if I want to make the money, I gotta dedicate myself to the sport, because if I don't, then the money's not gonna be coming in, right? But Tank Davis doesn't understand this. It's like, okay, maybe you don't like the sport, that's fine, but if you want to make money, then you better stay in shape and win these fights, keep winning, keep on winning, and the paychecks are gonna get bigger and bigger. But he has a fucking
and another. That's why I say with Tank Davis, he just doesn't care. It's like Oscar wanted to sing. I think Manny. They all kind of find something else to use their stardom. They kind of find a grift to go as a jumpstart their career out of the ring. And Tank Davis doesn't even have that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the difference between those guys, they really had a passion for boxing. Manny Pacquiao, I think they absolutely love boxing. I don't know if Tank Davis does.
Tank Davis doesn't love boxing. He said it with his own mouth. He said he got into it because he was like a bum, pretty much. But the dude got fucking. I mean, he wanted to make some money or something. If he had a father figure, that's what he said. Pretty much, if he had an actual father or something like that, he probably wouldn't be boxing. That was his. That's what I heard him say.
Okay.
Yeah, but Tank actually beat. I watched that fight. I refused to watch that fight because I didn't really. I mean, Lamont Roach is like nobody. I never heard of him. So when I watched it, I think it was close. I think Tank actually edged it out. I think Tank actually won that, and they.
Wait a minute.
Still pulled it off. Yeah. I think Tank did. This is my belief. I scored it, and I gave 1 point advantage over Roach. Tank winning. If he hadn't pretend to fucking have a fucking seizure with the lubricant, the Lubin on his eye. If he didn't have that Lubin on his eye, he would have been fine. You know what I mean? But the Lubin, fucked him up, and that's the reason why they gave it to the other boy. But the reality is,
Gypsy boxing with his gypsy take.
Yeah, I think he won. I think Tank. You know the funny thing about Tank. Tank might be shying away from these competitions because he doesn't want a real challenge, even though he actually has faced some real challenges unwantingly, which was Isaac Cruz and Lamont Roach. I think he it's funny, but I think he beats some of these top guys. I think based on what I'm seeing, the eye test. I think.
Oh, the eye test.
Yeah, the eye test. I think he might even beat like a guy like Shakur, even though Shakur, they say, oh, he's the best thing, and he's carrying power. He's carrying precision. He's carrying a lot of things. Tank has a lot of equipment.
He's carrying purses. You know? He's carrying purses to the press conference. I mean, listen, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I get what you're saying. But look, he's got to fight the guys to prove it. And it's all well and good to think that but he hasn't fought anybody. Now, as to the Roach, you having him beating, all right.
I don't like the dude. I'm just saying that I know he's also carrying purses. He's probably also carrying some transvestite with him whenever we don't see him. Who the fuck knows, bro? Yeah, he's carrying a lot of stuff, carrying a lot of load, and that's something wrong. But anyways, he's that dude, bro, that I think he can do it, but he doesn't care about extreme. He wants the easy way. I said this last time. He's that guy.
Of course, yeah. That's been apparent.
Okay, so now, So does the PBC know this? Whoever's fucking promoting him, managing him. So what's the plan here? Like, do you talk to that guy? I guess they already tried to, probably. So at this point, it's like, okay, what the fuck's next? His next is probably going to be a loss if he keeps fighting like he fought against Roach. That's why they were pretty happy of that for Tank to have that exhibition fight against Jake Paul. It's like, hey, we're gonna make some money, and he's not gonna lose or whatever. But now they're back to boxing. What's gonna happen? Who's gonna fight? Is he gonna lose?
Well, that's the thing, though. Both guys are in a bit of a jam. They're both in a bit of a jam. Tank Davis and Jake Paul, because Jake Paul has to fight. I know he's not a real boxer, blah, 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 but he's been talking about it, and now people expect him to fight somebody of note. Otherwise, you can see what's happening. His fights aren't selling well. The pay-per-views don't sell well, so he's going to fight somebody that people give a crap about. And then, same thing with Tank Davis. He comes back now. Well, what does he do now? His reputation takes a bit of a hit because now there's that rumor out there that, hey, this dude's not that as great as business prospect, or he's not as successful a business venture as people assume he was. So now he's got to man up and fight somebody of note. Otherwise, who's gonna? And even if he fights Shakur Stevenson, I don't know how well that does at the gate or the pay-per-view. I think at the gate maybe it would do well, but because it's two top lightweights, whatever. But even then, now it's doubtful how successful the guy is at the gate. So he's got to fight somebody good, that's for sure.
You know what would have been an interesting fight? Him and Keyshawn Davis. The Davises. We should have called it a Davis fight. The Davises. The two Davises. Tank Davis and the Keyshawn Davis. I think that's a solid fight. I don't think he beats that dude. I think Keyshawn is pretty good, but Keyshawn.
Keyshawn. You keep calling these guys by their first name. Keyshawn, Shakur, Devin.
I know about first name basis. Davis. I said Davis is they're both Davises though. Which one? Davis too.
Okay, yeah, I'll allow that. Yeah, I'll allow an exception. I'll make an exception for that. Keyshawn.
Yeah, they're both Davises. So I'm just gonna call him Keyshawn. So Keyshawn, I think Keyshawn could beat Davis. I think Keyshawn also could beat Shakur, but
Keyshawn's at 140 now. He's out of the division.
I know, but you see how big Shakur is? Shakur is talking about fucking fighting Conor Benn, bro. He's calling Conor Benn.
He won't fight Jaron Ennis, but he'll fight Conor Benn. It's like, what the fuck? Get out of here. Fucking gap-toothed motherfucker. Hey, by the way, what else we got? Because we've talked about Davis now for about 10 minutes. Is there any other piece of news out there?
I wanted to tell Bucho, but is there permission to speak? Because I wanted to, maybe to you too, Mr. Media and Frank. Dude, I've been thinking. That's just me, and I watched the fight between Canelo and Crawford. I want to revisit that maybe for like a minute, just for my own sake. But what do you guys think? Because I rewatched the fight many times, and a lot of people said that Crawford schooled Canelo, like it was wide.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, was it complete? But then you had one guy clearly winning. And even me, like, I watched the fight many times and I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. And I don't really have a definitive answer. Did Crawford school Canelo or was it close? But yes, okay, Crawford won. But a lot of people are trying to like make it more than what it was.
People are Andre Ward and Max Kellerman made people believe that there was a whooping. You know what I mean? It wasn't a whooping. You look at that first part of the fight. You even look at copy box numbers. Yeah. Nothing really happened. The routes could have gone either way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I thought. Yeah, listen, Canelo lost that fight. He lost that fight. Crawford won it. But when people say, if you read the pound for pound list there for ESPN, and they tell you each fighter why this guy won or why that guy won, Crawford, don't pay attention to the scorecards. Crawford whooped Canelo. I'm thinking, don't pay attention to the scorecards. But when he was, but when he was Lomachenko Haney, for example, it's like, well, the fight could have gone either way. Blah blah blah. It's like, but this one, So in other words, they're saying, hey, we got to go with what the judges said. But this time, all of a sudden, the judges, you can't. The judges. These guys want, like I said before the fight, they wanted that. The reason why a lot of the journalists, and I'm not saying that Canelo won, because I already know people out there, they don't listen too well. But what I'm saying is they wanted, the people were rooting for Crawford, and I'm talking about the journalists in America, because it would have made it for an interesting story. Canelo wins, he beats a guy coming up 2 weight divisions. But if the guy coming up in weight, and forget about the fact that they were both the same size. I mean, that was apparent during fight week when they faced off for the first time in Las Vegas, and you could tell Crawford was no fucking welterweight. And yeah, I mean, you saw Bomac said he should have been up at 168 a long time ago. Same thing, Crawford said the same thing. So, but anyway, if Crawford wins and then they go, yeah, but Crawford actually was the same weight, they're not going to say that, because then it punctures and deflates their story. So they got to go with that. I mean, it's pretty apparent. And, people are going to say, oh, you guys were salty, whatever you say, it doesn't change the fact that you watch the fight and then you see what the people are saying, the journalists, and that makes no sense. So I go by the facts. I go by what I see. I see by the evidence.
Well, look, I'm going to just say this off top. I will put up $50 for anybody that wants to watch the fight with me. And if you believe Crawford dominated, let's watch the fight together and point out to me where he dominated. It's a challenge to anybody listening now.
Thunderdome did that. Yeah, Thunderdome Boxing did that with Crawford on Postal. And he watched the fight, and there was one guy there who was like, no, Crawford dominated. And then they watched, and the guy actually changed his mind. He's like, yeah, it was closer than I thought. So, but again, it's the media. Look, the media has to go with this because they need that story. They need that
title of the story that Rocky, the new Rocky, that Rocky of the 21st century.
Of course, Of course. Hey, but speaking of Rockies and all, what?
Go ahead.
Hey, I want to watch the fight. I always said watch the fight off the air. We're gonna watch the fight off the air at some point. The Canelo Crawford fight, and then I'm gonna edit it and all that shit. So because we can't show the whole fight on YouTube, obviously, so I want to do that shit.
You could,
was that what
rounds? And I could have given Canelo easily one clear round, and out of the first 5 rounds, and maybe between 1 and 4, they could go half and half till the rounds were close. So ultimately, within the 12-round fight, I could say that Canelo definitively won 2 clear rounds, and maybe 4 rounds were like it could have gone either way. Then the other 6, out of the other 6, there was 3 rounds that Crawford won definitively, and they were probably more spectacular than the 2 rounds that Canelo won. But since you got to break it down round by round, the 3 rounds and the tail of the fight that Crawford won spectacularly can only be judged 9-10. Just like the rounds that Canelo won clearly that were much closer, but still Canelo won clearly, they could also be judged 9-10. And in the first 4 rounds that could have gone either way, well, that's up to discretion. But when you tally it up from 12-1 or from 1-12, and you break it down, yeah, okay, you can have it 6-5 Crawford, 5-7 Crawford, but I don't think it was an ass whooping. It just happened that the 3 rounds that the Crawford won cleanly, he started and ended the combinations to where now they started losing the shit. Oh yeah, Canelo got pieced up, but Canelo ended his shots too.
Yeah. There's go watch the Exodus Files, people. They made a great video about it.
Go ahead,
guys. When I watched the fight live, but then again, I'm technically like up fucking 3-4 stories up, watching it down. I mean, I can still see it. It looked like Crawford won like 9 rounds. It looked like it, but when I rewatched it, I actually had like Canelo winning 4 to 5 rounds, like at least four rounds. I mean, maybe 5, and then I edged it to Crawford. Based on like what I saw in the rewatch. I mean, he won either way. I mean, it's just if it's 9-3, 7-5, or 8-4, whatever way you look at it, he won. I mean, yeah, I could see why some Crawford fanboys be like, 100%, he whooped his ass.
These guys can't score a fight. These guys can't score a fight. I mean, they had Lomachenko losing to Haney. So, I mean, these guys are disingenuous. These guys are liars. These people have an agenda. It's all about black power. We're the victims. We're the victims. So, why do we care what the fuck they have to say? By the way,
yeah.
Yeah. What were we going to talk about before Canelo?
Bivol coming back after some sort of injury. I think, what was it? A surgery that he had. And I don't understand. He comes up with the names that he wants to fight. He goes, I want to fight Benavidez. I think he mentioned Beterbiev. He mentioned Canelo, which, I mean, what does that do for him now at this point? And get this. He mentioned Opetaya. Jai Opetaya. Gold Coast. And I don't know.
Fucking coward, man. He's a coward. He's a fucking. He can't keep his word, man. Like, how you gonna do a guy like that? I mean, like, he gave you a rematch automatically, which he shouldn't have. Technically, he should have just, took a nice like little rest and then fought somewhere in like May or something. So he would have been fully recovered. I think.
Beterbiev.
Beterbiev should have done that because that's some fucked up shit that he felt for. That like, I since I'm turning 40, I need to stay, sharp and everything, and that wasn't the case. I mean, that wasn't the case for Kovalev versus Canelo after he came off that Anthony Yard fight. Apparently, he was coming in too quick. He didn't have enough rest for the Canelo, but it's okay for Kovalev. Now, it's not okay for Kovalev, but it's okay for Beterbiev. That makes sense, bro. That he should have had enough rest. Him being as old as he is, that's why he tired out in the 7th round and he lost. Because of that, he got tired out in the 7th round. He was just fighting off of fumes and shit. But in the first fight, he clearly won. I don't care what any fucking clown's got to say. Your boy lost. Accept it. He lost. That's the fact. I like Bivol too, but not anymore. After this clown shit, I'm gonna fight Opetaya. Fuck you guys. If you're a Bivol fan, you should be ashamed of yourself. You shouldn't be a fan.
Well, I mean,
I know he's a he's a good talent. You shouldn't. You can't keep his word, bro. Like, how are you gonna be like? You shake on a man's hand, you say, "Oh," and the other guy accepts it. It's not like you did it, and you don't go with the rematch, especially if you feel like you can beat him. Like, he's older. I mean, come on, man.
That's the thing that I don't understand what happened with the third fight, because they were supposed to do those 3 fights back to back, and all of a sudden, I guess it's because of the Bivol injury, and Beterbiev was supposed to fight this month, but he had to pull out because of an injury of his own. So both these guys are plagued by injuries. I'd be surprised if we see the third fight at this point. And at this point, do we really want to see a third fight? Because Beterbiev, again, depending on how he looks, he's going to be, 42, 41 by the time that fight happens. So I don't know. The fights were both fights were very competitive. I thought Bivol won the first fight, and it was the first time in years that I recall the public being so divided after, because again, we keep mentioning Lomachenko and Haney throughout this episode. That fight, most people believe Lomachenko won that one. You only had a couple of people going, "Oh, but the body shots." Most people said Lomachenko won it. With Beterbiev, Bivol, that was 50-50. It's like people just couldn't say, and then you had some people saying, "Oh yeah, Beterbiev won clearly," and then you had other people saying Bivol won clearly. I didn't hear as much controversy after the rematch, but you're right. They should have made the rubber match right away, but it didn't happen because of the injuries and this and that. So it's a weird fight, man. Bivol is still the best guy in the division. And it's like we were saying earlier, it's a barren wasteland. Who does he fight? Would you guys be excited if he fights Callum Smith or Joshua or Buatsi? No, man, he's gonna take on a challenge now.
There's only one fight.
Go ahead, bro.
No, there's only one fight, David Benavidez. That's it.
He's not fighting
exactly.
Benavidez. I'm telling you right now, he's not fighting David Benavidez. David Benavidez has his eyes on the sight with David Benavidez. Arthur wants Benavidez. He knows that fool's going to be too much of a chicken shit to fight him again.
No.
So he wants Benavidez. Oh, that's the facts.
Wait, you really dislike Bivol, huh?
Yeah, people in the chat calling you a hater or something.
I am a hater. Yeah, you could say that. I am a fucking hater.
Look,
you know what I mean?
Why not? I mean, we want to see him. Yeah, but I'm just saying we want to see Benavidez versus Bivol and Beterbiev. Like, why does it have to end with? Look, man. I mean, if they fought like they should.
To make that fight. Bro,
I know. I'm just saying. Okay, chill out, bro. I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm not saying like let's just see them fight. Like they all need to fight each other again. Let's not just pick one guy. Like so, David faces Bivol, beats him, then make him fight Arthur. Like there's no easy fights, basically.
Agree with you. I'm totally for that. But is Dimitri Bivol for that? No, he's not. He's talking about Apataya. He's talking about.
Well, hold on. If he dumps the belts, Gypsy, and he fights Apataya at the Gold Coast Convention Center, you wouldn't be. That's a challenge right there, man.
It's a challenge, but you know what it is? With his level of skill, he beats Apataya.
I don't know about that.
He will outpoint him. He's not going to stop him. He's going to outpoint him, and he's going to make a clear statement, skill level.
How confident are you in that? Hold on. How confident are you? Because it's. I mean, whether you're confident or not, it's still a challenge. It's not a given.
I'm pretty confident. I think even Arthur could do the same, but Arthur is, running high on the mileage at this point. He's not planning on jumping. At one point, he was thinking about jumping in class, but he's not because of this schmuck who's been holding up the undisputed for 5 fucking years.
Look, man, I'm not a Bivol fan by any measure, but just to the panel. Wow, what Bivol could, in my opinion, how come he just doesn't pull a Crawford and be like, I beat the man, I can do what I want. Like he legitimately could do that. If I was Bivol, I'd be like, fuck you guys. I took all the belts, I beat, you said I was ducking this guy, I beat him, I beat Canelo, I can do what I want now.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's a good question. By the way, shout out to Greg Terrible who says technically for his super chat, shout out to Greg Terrible for his contribution to the super chat. He says technically Crawford doesn't have a huge following. No, he doesn't. Shout out to Greg Terrible. Well, maybe we'll see. Maybe after fighting Canelo, maybe it's grown a little bit more now. But I mean, I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know, man. It's all opponent dependent. He has to fight if he fights Janibek, it's gonna be like the Madrimov thing over again. It's gonna be a bad at the box office, bad at pay-per-views if they do a pay-per-view for that. And shout out to Rapax Trunking Company for his reestablishing his membership as here over at BD Boxing. Shout out to him. He says the fallout of robberies is Bivol avoiding a rematch, Haney avoiding a rematch with Loma, or rather suing Ryan, and Floyd avoiding Oscar De La Hoya rematch, and many more. Well, Lomachenko is the king of the rematch avoiders because the Salido fight was controversial. Salido says, no, sorry, I got to go, and he fights Mikey Garcia instead. Teofimo Lopez, it was still a competitive fight, even though I thought Lopez edged it 7-5 because of Loma's injury, but they should have done it again. Lopez said, no, sorry, got to go. And same thing with Devin Haney. But even if somebody out there believes that the fight could have gone either way, okay, then run it back. He deserved it. Now the Haney's run around. And what happened? I don't believe in hexes and all that, even though we talk about that type of stuff over the Second Renaissance. But hey, isn't it interesting? Orlando Salido avoids the rematch, loses to Mikey Garcia, and then drives drunk into a fucking carniceria or whatever it was, and he's in jail right now. I think he's still in jail. Teofimo Lopez avoids a rematch. What happens? He loses his undisputed lightweight championship and his undefeated record against Cambosos. Devin Haney says no to the rematch. He gets embarrassed by Ryan Garcia, shits his pants in front of everybody. Still hasn't recovered his image from it. So I don't know, man. Maybe again, I don't believe in karma. I don't believe in all that. But what a coincidence that's happening with all those guys that avoid rematches against all.
It's called Lomachenko for a reason. Been going on for a long time. He's doing his magic. Lomachenko.
You think there's some sort of Ukrainian magic, ancient Ukrainian magic going on? Is that what you're saying?
Ancient Gypsy Ukrainian magic. don't know, bro. I think they both, all of them, they knew what's up. That's why they never wanted a rematch. They knew what's up. Lopez knew that as soon as I think Lopez the only one who genuinely beat Loma. Nobody actually beat Loma for Teofimo Lopez. And I think if he rematched him, he would have got KO'd like Cambosis.
Okay, come on.
Oh yeah, I'm dead. I'm certain. I'm 100% sure. I think he would have got KO'd. I think Loma was gonna come in there knowing the flaws that he had in the first fight and how much advantage he took over of Lopez at the later part of the fights. He was just gonna come in there with that same steam and just knock his ass out. He would have stopped him. I'm pretty certain. He knew it. Lopez knew it too, and that's why he never wanted to rematch him. The same thing. Haney also in some cases the same thing, but with Haney it was more of a weight issue. He was already dying to make that weight, and also it was also the fact that Loma was going to be too much for him in a rematch. That's why he never wanted it. Loma was could have been undisputed. Realistically, he got robbed from being undisputed.
And I think so too. I think so too, Gypsy, because the whole thing about Lomachenko downloading the information, it took him 5 rounds to pull a car out of the driveway and all stuff. Stylistically, it just came down to like athleticism against a guy that had experience and a guy that was slightly bigger and more muscular than Loma, because Loma had a lot of experience. But Teofimo's athletic. He's a younger guy with punching power in that division. As he's moved up, he's kind of lost that. So now that Lomachenko knows that the power is not necessarily all that he thought maybe in the first fight, that he had to keep it, keep it tight and be on his P's and Q's, because if I get caught with a shot, I'm saying Loma, and something I don't see coming, then I could be seriously hurt based on Teofimo's prior knockouts when he was looking spectacular. But now knowing that the power's there, but it's not like to the point where, okay, he's going to probably cock me and knock me out. That rematch is not happening, by the way. But I know what you mean. It was a close fight. Yeah, but like you said, Teofimo Lopez definitely won that clearly.
Yeah, and by the way, Lomachenko just recently came out and said that the reason why he retired was that Devin Haney robbery, like, he just deflated him. And he said, you know what? He said he just wanted one last fight to get a paper belt. And again, I don't know why he cares about those paper belts, but evidently he does. And he wanted that Cambosos fight, and that's it. He was content with calling it a day. And it's interesting because, again, people talk about how Loma was overrated, this and that. Listen, this dude was never convincingly beaten. I mean, I think Lopez clearly beat him, but there was always that asterisk about the shoulder. Meanwhile, while Lopez is struggling with Nakatani and losing to Cambosos, Lomachenko goes in there and wipes the floor with both guys, stops him. And again, like, people forget that Rigondeaux fight. Oh, but Rigondeaux was too small, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Lomachenko didn't exactly go out there and bully him. He just started boxing him and made him quit. Barely touched him with anything big. He just wrestled and dazzled him with skill. So, yeah, man, this dude was always doing better than most against common opponents, than the guys that supposedly beat him. None of those guys wanted to rematch him. And he, like I said, never got convincingly beaten. Look at the Devin Haney. Getting dropped 3 times, getting hurt multiple times against Ryan Garcia, shitting his pants. Orlando Salido getting dropped 5 times against Mikey Garcia. Teofimo Lopez walking out of there looking like he got jumped by a gang after the Cambosos fight. You never saw Lomachenko looking like that.
I mean, look, a prime Loma, he's a great fighter. You just have to go and watch a prime Lomachenko, see what he did within 10 fights, and it's undeniable he was a great talent. He was already at the end of his career when he fought Haney, and in my eyes beat him. I think the Teo Loma fight could have went either way, but he was a great fighter. I don't think, he was white chocolate before white chocolate. I mean, everything he was doing in the ring.
Yeah. No, by the way, speaking of,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
No, Tank Davis ducked Lomachenko. We just know that. So that tells you
you are connected
how great of a fighter he really was. We talk about the eye test.
You are now in the host
and if you have a son or daughter that you want to start in boxing, he's one of the first people you should have him watch. They talk about Sweet Pea, but I'd want to fight more like Lomachenko because he was a more offensive fighter than Pernell. I'm gonna get crucified for that, but I don't know. Just in my opinion.
Well, listen,
It's just sad that,
Loma.
it's just sad that he's a small guy. It's just sad that he's a small dude. If he was just a little bit bigger, he could have just been the welterweight division or, the junior welterweight division. If he was in that, he started off from junior weight, went to welterweight, he would have got a lot more praise.
A dream fantasy fight. Imagine Lomachenko versus the Monster Inoue. Imagine that. What would that have looked like?
I think he beats it, to be honest with you. I think
Loma catches Inoue. I think so. I mean, if I'm just visualizing it.
But he beats him like 12 rounds. He's a type of guy that like Crawford, he's very instinctual. He's instinctually he knows what to do based on all the stuff that his pops taught him, and he knows how to adapt and get better at naturally a better fighter than Inoue is. That's just my opinion. I think he just is.
All right, guys, let's
you're basically saying that he would Rigo him. I don't think he would Rigo him because Rigo got power. That's why I call him El Chacal with the left hand.
I don't think he Rigos him.
What they do, they throw a lot of powers. I just wanted to revisit one point because I don't know if it's ever going to get mentioned again.
Let's take a phone, guys. Let's take a phone call here. Let's take a phone call.
The thing about Devin Haney versus Lomachenko, the body shots. Mexicans go to the body all the time, but never count them. Oh, but he landed a body shot. Haney with no power. All
right, BJ, step in because nobody can hear me.
Yeah, Bucho's, we got to take a phone call here. Go ahead, Bucho. Take the call away.
Yes, 210, you're on the air, 210.
What's up, guys? What's up, Paul?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, man, y'all covering a lot of issues, man. I was going to go to that Ortiz fight, but Kid Austin fell off again. This guy's unreliable. I don't trust him or his dad. Yeah, with Loma, y'all got also point out that Loma...
sorry, man, are you on speaker or what are you using? It sounds
yeah. Hold on, how about now?
Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, how about now?
Yeah, it sounds better.
Yeah, well, with the Virgil Ortiz fight, the tickets are overpriced. The undercard doesn't really look that good. Kid Austin fell off again. And I just think Ortiz is going to win, so I'm going to skip out on that one. But with Loma, y'all got to point out that, man, this guy could have campaigned at 126 his whole career. Naturally smaller guy. I mean, just the weight difference between him and Haney was crazy. You remember we looking at him at a side-by-side at the press conference? Well, Haney looked like a welterweight, but remember, Haney also weaponized the 36-hour weigh-in, almost 2 days to rehydrate. You know what I mean? So, it sucks what happened to Loma. It's a boxing politics. Sorry, I'm out here grilling some dogs out here. But, it just sucks what happened to him, man. I mean, I don't blame him. It's disheartening what happened to him. Everybody avoided him, and it just sucks, man. It just shows that I don't know what they were thinking giving Devin Haney the fight. But with Victor Conte, man, I know I've actually got a chance to hang out with him a couple of days when he was here in San Antonio. He's a real cool dude, man. It sucks to hear that he passed. And with him, what I think is we need him. It's like crime. You have informants, right? There's no way cops can go out there and FBI and everybody can do what they do in the dirty world like boxing, compared to boxing without someone on the inside. You got to have somebody on the inside because boxing is the Wild West of sports. It's a red light district of sports. So I think he was in it for the right reasons. If you guys really want to hear his story and break it down, which I'm surprised you guys haven't really listened to the Joe Rogan podcast where he pretty much comes clean about everything. That'll give you all some education on where he was, why he did it, his justifications, and just how crazy it was when he was doing that, and the whole thing with Memo Heredia. So I would just implore y'all to go to Spotify, look up the Victor. It's on there. Victor Conte interview, and he's a really good guy. Man. He's a knowledgeable dude, man. One of the smartest dudes I've ever met.
Yeah, I listened to that interview, and you can just tell this dude is essentially like in the Netflix documentary there, Untold Hall of Shame. He's essentially bragging. That's what he did. He liked to brag. He technically he did get away with it because they only slapped him. It was a slap on the wrist. With that minimum security prison they sent him to, a very short sentence as well. It was just a couple of months. So he's essentially bragging about what he did. That's what he was. He was a bragger. That's why I don't know if Snack is going to.
I mean, I don't think he was bragging about it because if you look at there's a German documentary with Memo Heredia. Memo Heredia is in Mexico buying all this stuff over the counter, and he's on video. Like, I guess he was doing it to himself and showing how he can beat the test himself. If anything, he's the one that bragged. And, you know, at the time Conte got popped, man, everybody was on the juice, man. They were talking about the Russians, because it all had to do with the Olympics, right? So it all had to do with that. And he actually tried to raise the flag, like, hey, guys, this is what's going on. Everybody's like, hey, man, everybody's doing it, so fuck it. So, I mean, that's what happened. And he came clean, and Memo Heredia is a rat, so he ratted everybody out so he can get off. He was like one of those, you know, where he rolled on people, and that's how he was able to get away with not doing any jail time. And then he changed his name, you know what I mean? So that guy's a snake, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know, man. The whole thing's crazy, but I think no one's denying
that he's a snake, but the Conte thing, like, wow, he came clean. No, he came clean because they caught him.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was inevitable, right? I mean, all those guys were going to get popped, all of them. But, you know, when he got popped, he wasn't trying to rat everybody out, and he didn't take the weasel way out the way Heredia did. He didn't change his name. He came in.
So he's not as bad. He's not as bad as the weasel. So he's not as bad.
We need guys. We need guys like that. I mean, because this is a dirty ass sport. It's a business dressed like a sport. So that's my take on it, man. It just sucks. Like I said, I actually got to know him for like a few days, and he's like a really cool guy, smart guy. But yeah, man. So it's just gonna keep happening, man. People are gonna keep using.
Yeah, for sure.
To the caller, I would say to the caller, he did rat out his clients.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which client?
He said he. You talking about Victor Conte, right? You said that Victor Conte never rat. He wasn't a dirtbag like a rat dirtbag like Memo Heredia, which I agree with you. But he did rat out his client list. Yeah, he did. The
clients are the ones who got popped, and they're the ones who gave away the suppliers.
No,
Murray and Jones and all them. They're the ones that got popped.
No, they didn't get popped. They actually didn't. He said that he was supplying them. That's the reason why Barry Bonds, for example, is not in the Hall of Fame. Technically, it's up to the writer's discretion, right? Because they get voted in by the beat writers that cover each city. But one of the reasons why Barry Bonds didn't get in, who's arguably the greatest baseball player to ever do it, or one of them, is because when he said that he never knowingly took steroids, Victor Conte said that's not true. He knew exactly what we was giving him. That's technically snitching.
I don't know, man. I got to listen to that thing again. It's just the way it all made sense in the way he broke it down. I haven't heard it in a while, but I think it went down differently. But it is what it is, man. You gotta have people like that, man. And you know what I mean? Like, you got to have somebody on the inside. Because if you don't have somebody on the inside that's telling you, hey, this is how they would cheat. This is how they would do it. Because this is how you know, if you don't have those guys, bro, we're going to have to, boxing would be way worse off. I mean, so I think he was actually a good for the sport. Because, I mean, sure, like, him and Heredia shouldn't be around any sports, but this is boxing. Like, they're not allowed to help people in other sports. Only boxing is the crazy sport that allows these guys to do their thing. You know what I mean? And it's not just those two. There's a bunch of guys that are like well known. Remember Alex Ariza? You know, there's a whole bunch of dudes that are just connected, man. It is what it is, man. These guys are always going to use.
All right, we got to move on. We got other callers. But yeah, go ahead. Recognize.
All right. Yeah.
I was going to say, when it comes to professional sports and millions of dollars, is always going to be, you know, somebody trying to get an edge. That's just the way it goes.
Yep, true.
Yeah, that's what these guys always. That's what Victor Conte said. That's the mentality that a lot of these guys have. Well, if everyone else is cheating, then I'm just evening the playing field.
Let's take another phone call here. 310. You're in the air. 310.
Hello.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. Like, I'm listening to you guys talk about Lomachenko, and yeah, man, that guy was you know, the boxing establishment, they actually helped him out a lot. You know, he got to fight for a world title in the second fight, which that was like a big mistake. They put him in there with Salido, and you know, it's like he was struggling to make 126. He had been there forever. Salido was there forever, and he was struggling to make weight. So that's why they matched him up with Salido. You know, like a top rank. They knew he was struggling to make weight. So what Salido did is like he blew the weight on purpose. He came in heavy because that's Salido. You know, he's dirty. You know, like they knew he was dirty, and you know, when Salido when things get rough, he goes to the dirty tactics. You know, it's like that's just Salido. You know. So that was a mistake putting him in there with him. You know, he's heavy. Started but if you look at that very first round, Salido was outboxing him clean. But then when he started getting tired, that's when he started going low. And then you know, he was doing it slick when the ref wasn't looking. You know, he's a vet. You know, so that was a big mistake putting him in with the guy like Salido. You know, so you know, Salido fought him dirty, he beat him up, whatever. And he got the decision, you know, rightfully. So there was no way they could rob Salido. So then after that fight, pay attention to his boxing record. You know, they put him in there with a bunch of Mexican pressure fighters. They had undefeated records. And, you know, I'm like, man, who are these guys? You know, because at that time I was living in Mexico. You know, so I'm like, you know, they used to have the fights on Saturday on Televisa and
Nope. Did we just lose the caller?
They had no power. They were undefeated, and they were pressure fighters, light-hitting pressure fighters. They just go check these guys out. They just fed him to Lomachenko. And then when he went up to 130, they put him in there with Rocky Martinez. You know, again, you know, this guy's struggling to make weight. He was supposed to fight Berchel, but supposedly he got injured. I don't buy that. It was fake. You know, they did that so that they could feed him to Lomachenko, you know, top rank. So he got injured, whatever. He fought Rocky Martinez. Rocky Martinez was a shell of himself. That was his last fight at 130. After that, he moved up. So then he moves up. This is what pisses me off. They started saying that the other champions at 130 were afraid of Lomachenko. I very much doubt that Takashi Miura and Takashi Uchiyama were afraid of Lomachenko. Look at those guys at 130, what they were doing. You know, Lomachenko was inexperienced. Now, they kept him away from those guys. And then I think Jarriel Corrales, he beat Uchiyama. And then Francisco Vargas beat Miura, you know? And then they're yapping, talking about, the guys at 130, they're cowards. What? They never sent them an offer. Those guys were like, yeah, we'll fight them. You know, because I watch boxing, from all over the world. You know, I don't just, watch what they show in the U.S. So I'm looking at these guys, you know, on the internet. You could watch any boxing match these days. So, I catch interviews, you know, they were, talking to these guys. Yeah, they wanted to fight Lomachenko. So that was, a whole, little smear campaign by, Top Rank talking about all these guys at 130 are cowards. Nobody wants to unify. The fight I do give him credit is when he went up to 135 and he beat Linares, you know? And then they did rob him against Haney. Lopez beat him up, you know, talking about he injured his shoulder and all that. Nah, he didn't want to attack Lopez. Lopez was you know, they were in offense. He was in an offensive posture. He won the first 7 rounds, Lopez, and he won the 12th round. You know, so he beat him 8-4. And that's because Lopez eased up, not because Lomachenko did something. No, because in the 12th round, Lopez got aggressive. And again, Lomachenko didn't want none of that. He was like, Lopez was too strong for Lomachenko. You could just tell the way the fight played out. Lomachenko was weary of Lopez's punching power. But I do give him credit for beating Linares. That was a good win. And then getting robbed against Haney, hey, I really don't feel bad for him because he had a lot of help. But anyway, that's my 2 cents, guys. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, he said a lot there. I mean, he said a lot of stuff there trying to go through Lomachenko's career. Well, that's one of the things I hear about. But go ahead, Gypsy. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, bro. There's a lot of people who keep talking about Salido beating Loma. I've seen that fight maybe 2-3 times. I'm telling you, that fool did not beat him. He lost at least 2 rounds. I mean, Loma beat him at least by 2 rounds or 1 round. Yes, he was green coming into the fight, but he did beat him. He almost knocked his ass out in the last fucking round, bro. He did not. And then the low blows don't even fucking matter, man. I mean, yes, you can count them if you want to count them as fucking body shots. I mean, it does matter because you're supposed to be warned for it. given a point for it, but even if you count that effort that he did with the low blows, he still fucking loses. He still gets beat up. He was still losing the fight against Loma. And they always bring this shit up like a bum like Salido, because Salido is a bum in a lot of ways. He is. He's not like above average. Yeah.
It's not a bum because out of his first 50 fights, he maybe lost 4 on the come up, and his totality maybe he lost like 11, and the latter like 6 or 7 fights that he lost were against Hall of Famers, status fighters that he lost, and maybe won and lost one against, right?
Yeah. So, I'm not trying to give him what I'm trying to say is that he's not high up there.
Salido was not a bum, dude. I'm gonna tell you because I've been watching his career, and this got brought up about 3 years ago. He lost the fights on the come up, dude. But then he rivaled the fucking Hall of Famers. He went fucking toe to toe with them, including Lomachenko, a future Hall of Famer.
Listen, we can't spend too much time on this Lomachenko thing, but just real quick.
I'm gonna move forward, PDA. I'm gonna move forward.
Let me say this. Bray in the chat says, Bray brings up a good point in the chat says, if Lomachenko was getting all that help, how come he didn't get the decision in those close decisions? Like that's what fighters who have a lot of help do. They get decisions like Haney. He gets a decision that shouldn't have gone his way. He could, they should have, they could have given him the Salido decision. They didn't. They didn't give him the decision against Lopez and then against Haney. So this whole thing about, they were propping him up, they were giving him help. They were giving him help in the sense that they were trying to hype him up, which is what they do. But in terms of give decisions and all that, that never happened.
He was under Bob Arum, and Bob Arum doesn't really protect his best assets. That's if Bob Arum had his hands with Usyk, Usyk would have probably lost against Breedis. It's just Bob Arum shit. But that's my opinion. That's not BDA's opinion. Let's put it out there. And on top of that, what else? He lost to Lopez, yes, because he feared the power from the beginning of the fight. And then he made an excuse about his shoulder. Yes, I believe that's an excuse. His shoulder wasn't the issue. He was wary of the power in the first 6-7 rounds. He was cautious, and because of that being cautious, he paid a big price with the 7 rounds that he lost. But he didn't lose the last 5. I think he was And then Haney arguably, not arguably, in my opinion, I think he lost to Lomachenko by 7-5. Some people got a bigger margin, but when I watched it, I said 7-5, and I knew they were going to rob him because of the favoritism that Haney has, and him being also young. Also, that made a difference. But none of these guys would never rematch.
The body shots, like I mentioned to you, like he didn't pull the car out of the driveway and he was worried the power. I told you about that 30 minutes ago. But yes, the body shots. Oh, Haney, what about the body shot? What about it? They're going back to the fucking ESPN from commentating or wherever that motherfuckers were. Anyways.
Well, one thing about that is I keep hearing about Lomachenko was weary of the power. It makes more sense that the shoulder injury is what got him, because in the second round, he actually countered he won the second round against Lopez. Then that's when after is when he started getting it with the shoulder thing. And that's when he started moving around excessively, which we'd never seen from Lomachenko. And then all of a sudden, he starts pressuring him once he felt comfortable. And he was blocking a lot of those shots from Lopez. So it wasn't the power. It didn't seem like it was the power to me. It just seemed like, it was the shoulder. He was doing well in that second round. And then all of a sudden, he starts excessively backing up. And then, of course, later on, yes.
Because it's not really the power that it was where is that he cannot throw the shoulder often and
exactly. And by the way, you mentioned the body shots from Haney. People say, well, what about the body shots? Well, listen, Jose Luis Castillo outlanded Mayweather, according to CompuBox, substantially, and he was backing him up constantly with the body shots. That's what successful body shots do. If a little guy like Lomachenko, smaller, older, slower, is eating those body shots and keeps coming forward, that means those body shots are wearing all that. To me, a headshot is a clean, effective punching. When he's snapping Devin Haney's head back, that's a clean, effective punch. The body shots weren't effective punches. They might have been clean, but they're not effective because the guy's not backing up. He's not doubling over. He's not stopping.
Even if you count the body punches, even if you count the body shots that Haney landed, he still loses because what happens in the fight is you see him land one body shot, two body shot. Lomachenko and then a jab or something. Lomachenko is trying to figure out the range to get through the jab, and then once he figures them out, he throws like 5-6 shots. You go by time, it won't work when you score that fight. You got to go with what punches land. That's why that fight was hard to score, in the sense of because you have to. Lomachenko would get him in spurts here and there, and you would have to count those punches. That's what people saw. That's why people, when they looked at it, like Shakur Stevenson, when he saw it, he's like, "Oh shit, I think he whooped his ass," because you see, like a very steady pace from Haney, where he's landing shots, but when Loma gets in the pocket, he fucks him up. He throws too many punches, and then you got to count that. You got to count those punches. You can't just not count them. You have to count the body shots. You got to count everything. You can't just throw, Haney threw body shots, we're not going to count that. No, you got to count that as well. But ultimately, the one that looked like it was beat up at the end in every single round, not maybe every single round, but majority of the round, was Haney. He got beat up. He was the one
nobody's saying discount. I'm not saying discount the body shots, but what I'm saying is, one guy is a smaller guy, that's the older guy, and he's backing the other dude up, landing the clean, effective shots upstairs. That's, to me, that's clean, effective punching, and that's ring generalship as well. And then Haney complaining to his father in the corner, he sees everything I'm doing. I mean, come on, the guy, he was defeated physically and mentally, and that to me is it. And by the way, one last thing here, though, before we go, Errol Spence just officially announced his retirement.
Oh,
what's his even Terrence? Oh no, wait. Sorry. Did he really announce it? Because there was a guy. People kept posting links on Discord, and so yeah, I just want to make sure. Did he retire?
We gotta wait and see. We gotta wait and see.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. It is. I don't. No. Well, yeah. All I see right now is Facebook, and yeah, I don't think he's. No, I don't think he's retired just yet. But I mean, when is he gonna come back? He might as well retire. It's been 2 years, man. Over 2 years since the whole Crawford thing. So anyway, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I was going to speak too soon there. But yeah, I remember that somebody kept posting tweets from a guy named Boxing Ho. I said, well, wait, I mean, who the fuck is trusting Boxing Ho? But anyway, yeah, that was my thing right there. So I think we're done for today, man.
My source. All right.
No, but he's retired. Dr. 805 or Dr. 807 called it. And we talked about it in 805. Dude shot for many reasons. He was just looking to cash up for that big payday when he head across the street. So what's left for him? Oh yeah, he could have a big money fight right now. Absolutely, he could come back. Maybe do the whole Vinny Paciencia. Motherfucker Vinny Paciencia was fucked up to where he can get a title against the right opponent. I think because that 10 million is going to run out sometime soon, right?
That's right.
He's looking for a big fight with Charlo.
He's coming back. I don't think he's not retired. In my opinion.
Gonzalo, he was looking for a big fight with Charlo. And he probably in training, he probably got injured. He's like, no, fuck this shit. I don't want to continue anymore. That's probably what happened.
I'm saying
he got injured.
All right. We're gonna end the show. 2 hours. But
if you get the
I don't know what's going on. Guys, thank you for joining the show. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.